And we are live. Welcome to Primetime with Hoyt and Wise Cheese. I am your host, as always, Mascara. My other co-host, Ben Hoyt, he will be here in a couple of minutes. We are just about to get underway here for Sunday Night Football between the Washington football team and the Dallas Cowboys. And before we get into the game, let's first get in our picks for tonight. This pick for me right here is a no-brainer. I got the Dallas Cowboys winning this game. I feel like this is a game to where you look at the Cowboys, now that they got the NFC East clinched as a result of the Chiefs, I believe, beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. They clinched the NFC East, but I believe the Cowboys, they're going to be trying to strive for that number one seed, and I feel like they're going to try to give the business to Washington tonight if they want to have a chance to overtake the Green Bay Packers for that number one seed. With that being said, let's, as the great Anthony Conover would say, pay the bills. If you are into gambling or anything like that, hit up mybookie.ag. Use promo code USN100 to double your first deposit. Hit up teesprings.com/stores/unwrapped to buy any of our merch for our shows. If you like our Patreon program, hit up patreon.com/unwrapped sports. We have 3 different tiers to follow. We have a $1 tier, we have a $5 tier, and we have a $10 tier. And also, if your back is hurting, hit up rxhemp.com. Use code rxhemp-USN, where you can get 10% off your order as a whole. With that being said, we are just about to get underway here for the Washington football team versus the Dallas Cowboys. The Washington football team, obviously, as we know, are trying to fight for their playoff lives. The Dallas Cowboys, on the other hand, looking to try and get the number one seed. We are just underway here at kickoff. The Cowboys set to receive the ball. They will now have it down at their own 25-yard line. And you look at now here, let's see in a way what the Dallas Cowboys have in store here on this very first drive. Let's see what kind of tone they set, for the rest of this game. And with the first play of the game, it is a Passover to Amari Cooper. Gain of about 6 to 7 yards here. Second down and about 3 for the Dallas Cowboys. And here we are, second down and 3 here for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak under center here, just about to get things underway. So we're going to see what he has in store here. The handoff to, it looks like either Tony Pollard or Ezekiel Elliott. And he looks to be just short of the first down here. Real good. It's a gain of 2 yards by Ezekiel Elliott. It is 3rd and 1 here for the Dallas Cowboys. Would not be shocked here if they elect to either go with a play action kind of play or just simply try to hand it to Zeke again one more time, just to try and get that first down overall as a whole. And we got 3rd and inches here with Dak Prescott. We got Zeke going just behind the backfield. Field look like CeeDee Lamb going into motion. It is a QB sneak for Dak Prescott, and he easily gets the first down there with that play. Just continuing the drive here. And when we get to commercial break, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here for the NFL Week 16. A lot of spots have been clinched, even some upsets that went down this week. A lot going down. We'll get into that during our commercial breaks. And as we look at Dak Prescott here, play action, looking to throw, and he just gets back to about the line of scrimmage or even gets sacked for about a loss of a yard. They are definitely trying to catch the Washington football team's defense lacking, but did not succeed as Washington was able to read that play. Little read that play there as they categorize it as a sack for about a loss of a yard as they are set up down at their own 37-yard line here. Second down and 11 for the Dallas Cowboys. Got Dak Prescott back to pass, looking, and he gets sacked one more time. He gets sacked again, this time for a loss of 5 yards. So now we get a third down and a long 16 here for the Dallas Cowboys. And for Washington so far, they just set the tone up front. You look at they rush up the center, putting pressure to Dak Prescott, and Dak had no chance with that one. Didn't really have time to throw it away, just had to do whatever he can to just take the sack, and that's what he did. Third and a long 16 here, empty backfield for Dak Prescott, looks to throw, finds a nice check down, tries to go a lateral to the side, and it does not work. I mean, what a creative play there, and it just completely backfired. You know, I mean, you look at the idea was there, just did not work out executional-wise. Mari Cooper, look at you, dropped the ball there. As you look at it's there, if Cooper catches that ball, we look like we could have a first down here. We got Mr. Josh Cayetono in the chat here. Welcome. And Josh, if you would like to be a part of the hot seat, you know, maybe vent about your Baltimore Ravens or anything like that, just let me know and I will do my best to help you out with that. Then in fact, even what I'll do is I'll even throw out an invite to you if you like. I'll give you a nice 10 minutes if you'd like. You could vent about the Ravens. You could just discuss whatever you like. I'll give the floor to you. And while I wait to set this up here for a hot second, and we have a very special guest. We have Josh here in the hot seat for Colorcast. Josh, you are live on Colorcast and also on Primetime with Hoyt and Wise Cheese. You got about 9 or so minutes. The floor is yours.
Well, I don't know that I'll need it all, Cheese. I appreciate you opening the invitation and letting me join you. Shout out Interact, shout out Colorcast. There's not a lot to talk about because we didn't expect to win today. We're throwing out pretty much a misfit of a team right now, especially on the defensive end. Our secondary is just atrocious. I mean, we are so banged up. And you know this, the Packers, like, they're built around Aaron Rodgers. The Baltimore Ravens have built everything around Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson obviously going down with the ankle injury, not being able to play Huntley today from his illness and banged up too. It's just not a good look. It's just it's not good. The Bengals, a lot of times teams can kind of overlook their opponent, and the Bengals did not do that today. Joe Burrow, third highest passing yards in NFL history. Great day for Burrow and the crew. I mean, there's just not a lot that can be said. We had a few really good moments on defense, and we had a lot of really bad moments. So this right now, the Ravens have to get healthy. That's the number one thing to this team. Everyone knows the Ravens at full strength are a very dynamic team, but we are not. We have not been for a while now, and it is tough to watch as a Ravens fan.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you with that. I also kind of want to point out, the Ravens, there was a stat line the last 4 weeks. They went for it on two times. They went for it against the Steelers, and it did not work. They even went for it against my Green Bay Packers in week 15, and it did not work. Do you kind of like those decisions that John Harbaugh made for the Ravens, or was it just simply one of those to where why don't we just have Justin Tucker kick it and just bank it 50-50 in overtime?
No, I love the moves because in both of those games, offense was not coming at a premium for us. So why not give yourself the best chance to go ahead and just win it there instead of giving especially the Packers, a chance to go make the drive in overtime. I get what I get the thought process, put the ball in the best player, and for the Ravens right now without Lamar, that might be Justin Tucker, and necessarily put it in his hands, put it on his foot, let him kick the ball. Even if you go into OT, let him kick a super long field goal if you have to. Not me. I'm a winner. I like to go for it. I'm kind of a degenerate, so I'm a part of the unwrapped gambling chat. So I'm perfectly fine with it. I love the aggressiveness. I think that we could do it a little more often, actually.
Absolutely, you are correct there. And just to give a quick update for the Sunday night game, we just saw Trayvon Diggs get yet another interception. The Cowboys defense getting a big takeaway here as they are down now at their own 28-yard line. And Josh, thinking of that Trayvon Diggs interception, is there any chance that Trayvon Diggs could win Defensive Player of the Year, or is it pretty much going to be TJ Watt or Aaron Donald?
I think it's going to go to one of those two guys. I don't think that there's really a pathway for Diggs to get it. It's kind of late whenever he made his surge. He's been great. I mean, he's been really good all year. Those other two guys have just been on another level. Trayvon Diggs obviously has taken a step forward, but what's interesting about the Cowboys is Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons. I mean, realistically, they have two candidates for Defensive Player of the Year on an 11-man squad. So 2 out of 11 could be the Defensive Player of the Year, and that's a pretty scary thing building for a Cowboys team who, has really made a name of themselves on the offensive side of the ball, and no one until lately has paid attention to the defensive side.
Absolutely, 100%. That's why I always think for the Cowboys, that addition of Dan Quinn at defensive coordinator was so huge just because of the impact he had with that Legion of Boom defense in Seattle. He was a main D coordinator behind that, and they had some of the most historic defenses of all time. When you had Prime Sherman, Prime Earl Thomas, have a Cam Chancellor, as well as Byron Maxwell. Just a lot of great guys there on that defense. It was very impressive to see. And Josh, I know your Ravens are in an interesting spot right now. They're 8-7, but their final 2 games, you got the Los Angeles Rams next week and the Pittsburgh Steelers week 18. How do you think the Ravens will rush back Lamar Jackson to play week 17, or are you in a situation to where, you know what, we're 8-7, if we want to throw in Lamar Jackson, great. If not, oh well, it is what it is.
I think it's the latter. I think that Lamar does need to rush back. He might want to, especially, I don't know if, I'm sure that you know this, Cheese, you're wise. Wise, get that. Lamar Jackson's been doing his contract negotiation by himself, so he's been, basically acting as his own agent. And the Ravens love Lamar. They love what he does. He's dynamic. He's an MVP. So that might make him want to get back out on the field quicker. But with Tyler Huntley, obviously we lose him because he's not Lamar Jackson, but that's a quarterback that we can go out and win with because of the scheme that the Ravens run. I mean, if we have a chance to win, it's not going to be us scoring 40 points a game, whether we have Lamar Jackson or Huntley or Josh Jackson under center. That's just Josh Johnson under center. That's just not the Ravens' MO. I mean, we've been a defensive-minded team for a very long time, and that's why, today only 36 yards rushing is a huge thing because that's our identity. We run the ball and we play defense. That's how we got the championship back in 13. That's just what we always do. So that's where it kind of gets questionable here is why would you rush Lamar back when your defensive players are really the ones that are holding this identity back from the Ravens?
Absolutely, 100%. I agree with you as well. I feel like for the Ravens, if Lamar is cleared to go and ready to play week 17, by all means play him. But otherwise, just rest Lamar and, just in a way, bounce back next year. I mean, you look at this Ravens team has just been hampered with injuries, whether it's Marcus Peters, whether it's Marlon Humphrey, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, just so many injuries to this team. I mean, I'm going to be honest, Josh. I hope your Ravens can get into the postseason. I mean, they still have an opportunity to 8-7. You're still in the runnings for the AFC North. It's a long shot, but the opportunity is still there. But you're going to have some big games the next 2 weeks. I mean, you got the LA Rams who just had a nice win this week. They're in first in the NFC West. And then you got, of course, one of the greatest rivalries in NFL history versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, week 18 at home in Baltimore. And I know Big Ben is going to try to go out there and try to end his career on top versus the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm pretty sure that you would like to play spoiler as well for Big Ben and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Nothing would make me happier than to see Big Ben leave in a loss in Baltimore. That would be the epitome, the best way to end that rivalry, or the end of the era, so to say. Just because Big Ben's been there for so long, doing it against Baltimore year in and year out. And I think that there's a good chance that we split those games 1-1. We could get lucky and beat the Rams next week, but I think we're gonna have to have some big help coming back to be able to do so. But Matthew Stafford, the Vikings don't have the best defense in the world either. He threw 3 picks today. They got lucky with that return at the beginning of the game for a touchdown. So without that game's a lot different. And the Ravens have a pretty good special team. So let me ask you, my time's kind of dwindling here, but let me ask you real quick, Chiefs. What do you think that contract extension will look like with Lamar Jackson? And before you answer that, there was just a touchdown by Ezekiel Elliott in the Sunday night game.
Absolutely. Just saw the nice pass from Dak Prescott to Ezekiel Elliott, capping off a nice 71-yard, 9-play drive there for the touchdown. Definitely setting the tone there. I feel like Lamar Jackson is going to get one of the highest paid QB contracts. I don't think it'll be quite Mahomes level, but I do think he's well worth getting paid as one of the top QBs in the NFL just because he simply is. You look at when Lamar is out there for the Ravens, they're a completely different team. When Lamar isn't on the Ravens, they're a different team. They aren't like the same caliber scary team. If Lamar Jackson is out there on the field, they're one of the biggest threats in the AFC. And, also he's won an MVP. He's won a playoff game. His only next step, to be quite frank with you, is to then make it to the AFC Championship game and then eventually win a Super Bowl. Look at he's almost there, like for quarterback achievements. He's got a playoff game under his belt with the win. He's got an MVP. Now it's all about getting to that championship game and getting to the Super Bowl, which they do have the capabilities to do so, especially when the Ravens are healthy.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We got to get healthy. I think that he's going to get paid quite a bit. I don't know that he gets the 10-year contract like Mahomes. I think we'll probably see a standard 4 or 5 year deal with Lamar, with a couple of those years being the option. Cheese, thank you so much for having me, sir. Have a fantastic night and a great new year.
Anytime. You as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a fellow Unwrapped Sports Network member, Mr. Josh Keinoto. I probably pronounced his last name wrong, but I will try my best to do that and try to pronounce it well. With that being said, like Josh mentioned, the Baltimore Ravens are in quite an interesting situation, obviously hampered with injuries, relating whether that's to Lamar Jackson, whether that's to J.K. Dobbins, whether that's to Gus Edwards, Marlon Humphrey, even Marcus Peters. Just so many injuries with this team. And, to be quite frank, it so far to this point hasn't been enough to overcome. And, hopefully, for the Ravens, they could pull off some upsets. In the NFL, there's always a saying called any given Sunday. We just saw last week when the Detroit Lions beat the Arizona Cardinals. We've seen the Buffalo Bills get beaten by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So many things can happen on any given Sunday. And for the Ravens, they are definitely going to be a team to watch out for against the Rams in Week 17. Because I'll tell you right now, if Lamar is a go against the Rams in Week 17, Baltimore is going to give everything they got on that Week 17 slate, because that'll pretty much decide whether or not they make the playoffs, to be quite frank with you, because you look at, and even for the Ravens right now, they're still hanging on to the 7th seed by a thread. They're not completely out of it because they beat the Chargers earlier in the season. They still hang on to a thread with that 7th seed. So we'll see if they could bounce back there. We got 1st and 10 here for the Washington football team, trying to bounce back after last drive, throwing an interception and just nothing going there. Defense able to sniff out that screen pass to Antonio Gibson. And, you look at Taylor Heineke and, for this Washington football team, they're still, in my honest opinion, a quarterback away. I don't think Heineke is the answer. I think Heineke will be a good backup. But I think Washington has to throw their name out in the hat, whether it's to get a QB in the market or a QB in the draft. They're going to be one of those teams to watch out for. We got second down and 10 here. Heineke looking to hand off. And so actually a play action pass to the tight end. What a play that was. I mean, here, I got duped myself. I thought it was going to be a handoff to Gibson to where he would go absolutely nowhere. But passed it to D. Milne for a gain of 14 yards there. Just impressive textbook play right there. Hopefully that'll give them a sense of momentum to both things in order. We got Josh saying Heineke is legit. I feel like Heineke is one of those situations to where he's kind of like a Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, a QB to where he'll be great as long as he isn't a liability and turn the ball over. Washington is one of those teams to where they're very reliant on the defense. Obviously, their defense has not been the same this year as of last year, whether it's due to the Chase Young injury that happened earlier this year or just simply, just struggling as a whole. That's something that you hate to see. You hate to see it happen, and you just go from there. And I mean, you just look at, and hopefully they could bounce back. We really do. But we'll just see if Washington can. Because I'll tell you right now, if Washington can get their quarterback situation correct, and if they could find their quarterback, they're going to be one of the scariest teams in the NFC East. Here we got a 3rd and 4 situation here for the Washington football team. Just about 6.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Here, we'll see what kind of play call they have here. You look at it was a good play action pass, but the Cowboys defense just swarming all over Heineke, causing a lot of pressure early. And we'll see what kind of decision they have here. 3rd and 4. We got Heineke in the shotgun formation, got Gibson to looks like his left, gets the ball underway and just having to throw it away there, not sensing the pressure at all. I don't know if they got the missed block assignment, but definitely a disaster there. It is 4th and 4, and Washington is set to punt it away. We got my guy, my co-host, Ben Hoyt. I am just about to get him on here in a hot second. We got the co-caster Ben Hoyt here on the Colorcast. Ben, I also sent you a StreamYard link whenever you are ready to join in on that one. Definitely a hectic show day there for Ben Hoyt. Ben, we are on a commercial break here. If you have time, would you like to get into the Eagles looking?
I do have some time for that. I always have time for Eagles. You know me.
All righty, Ben. Let's get into the Eagles looking. Your Eagles got a big win over the New York Giants. They're sitting at 8-7 and in the 7th seed. You are actually at the link for that game. The floor is yours.
So, one, I think this week couldn't have gone any better for the Eagles. I mean, the first half of football, I wanted to refund. I think every single person at the league wanted to jump. Heading into the half. But the Eagles picked up the pace. The Giants are only hanging on by a thread. We could see that Jake Fromm was not good. So we did our job, like they like to say in New England, and took control of the game. Devontae Smith did a heck of a job. So did Jalen Hurts. He woke up in the second half. Great early pick by Rodney McLeod on Jake Fromm. Defense was spectacular today. And we got a little bit of help from the Los Angeles Rams over the Minnesota Vikings. Not only that, the San Francisco 49ers lost. Of course, we can't catch them, but it always helps, to try to catch up to someone like that. And this game means a lot for 2 reasons. One being that Washington is trying to compete with us. Now, I would like to go on the road and beat them at Washington, but this would definitely help that cause. 2, we want Dallas to rest their starters week 18. I will be going to that game as well. We want Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott to be out of the game because then it gives the Eagles a chance. If we win 3 straight games, the percentage of making the playoffs, what do you think it is, Matt, according to several sources?
I would have to say it would have to be like 76%.
After winning 3 games, it's more like 97%.
Ooh, okay.
If the Eagles win out, it's in the 90s. So literally, it is control your destiny, but all help is needed for the Eagles.
Absolutely. All help will be needed for the Philadelphia Eagles. We got a run there for about a gain of 8 yards there by Tony Pollard. I'll give my little 2 cents for the Eagles as well. I think it was a good win by Philadelphia. I think it keeps them right in the runnings there for the playoffs, especially with Minnesota losing to the LA Rams. That has to be a huge thrill, and also a huge thrill because those same Minnesota Vikings got to play my Green Bay Packers week 17. So they could very easily fall to 7-9 there. And also for Philly, like you mentioned, Ben, you got Washington one more time next week and then the Cowboys week 18. Now, I think it'll be interesting, like you mentioned, Ben, with the kind of strategy that Dallas will go, because it could very easily be, if they can't get a 1 seed and maybe they have the 2 seed or the 3 seed locked up, they might, like you mentioned, Ben, rest their starters. But I think because it's a division rival, I think they're going to start Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, especially if they got the same record as Tampa or the same record as the Rams or the Cardinals. You best believe they're going to try and play their starters, and they're going to try and set up a matchup whether they're at the 2 seed or the 3 seed. Because I'll tell you right now, if they got to be stuck at the 4 seed and you got to play either the Los Angeles Rams or the Arizona Cardinals, you're going to be in for a bit of a long run there. So I think they're going to play their starters. They'd rather be matched up with the 49ers or even possibly your Philadelphia Eagles in a playoff matchup rather than the Cardinals or the Rams.
Yeah. So in terms of the Eagles making the playoffs, I forgot to get into this too. My sources believe, if I did the math correctly, which I believe I have, my dad is a smart dude, went to an Ivy League school. It is 58% right now and can be boosted with a Washington loss. And, of course, the New Orleans Saints losing to the Miami Dolphins.
Absolutely. I also want to I had a question, but then I forgot. My mind kind of blinked out for a hot second. Yeah, I'm gonna think about it real quick. You know what? I'll ask you this, Ben. Your picks for tonight. I picked the Dallas Cowboys. I think we kind of got your answer here earlier, but just one more time, what is going to be your pick for tonight?
So so it's funny. What does the scoreboard say for StreamYard? Does it still?
Well, right now it is Dallas 7, Washington 0.
Oh yeah. So, I heard broadcaster of the Eagles, Merrill Reese, legendary voice, and he was previewing the next game against Washington. Except he didn't say the Washington football team. He said the Washington whatevers, and that fully describes the game for me. It's like whatever. Like I don't care about Washington. Let's go Dallas. Let's go. I think Dallas, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Micah Parsons and that D are going to kill Taylor Heineke or whoever's starting. I don't know if Heineke's
It is Taylor Heineke starting. And while we're on the subject of the Cowboys defense, Ben, Trayvon Diggs already has an interception because Heineke tried to target Terry McLaurin early, and Trayvon Diggs beat him to it. Got what has to be maybe his 10th interception of the season, maybe more. And I even asked a fellow member of Unwrap, Josh Caetono, who was here earlier on the hot seat. I asked him, does he have a chance to win Defensive Player of the Year? And I'll ask you that same question: does he have a chance to win Defensive Player of the Year, or is it just simply T.J. Watts or Aaron Donalds to lose?
There's so many good defensive players this year. I don't think anyone is solely the defensive player of the year. I mean, because there's just so many good defensive candidates. I don't know if to go so far as to call him defensive player of the year. Parsons has had a hell of a year today. I mean, or not today, but this year. Trayvon as well has had a good year. I know nobody on my Eagles is going to win defensive player of the year because we have the defensive JV middle school team. But the guy with the most tackles today was TJ Edwards across the league. He had 18 tackles. I mean, there's so much defensive talent in this league. I know the big names are going to be up front, like Aaron Donald or TJ Watt or, in years past, maybe his brother JJ. But there's so many good players in this league defensively, including guys like Chandler Jones. Can't leave him out. There's so many. So I'm not going to say, no one has a chance to win Defensive Player of the Year. But some players do have a better chance than others. But I think it's a really even race right now between a few select candidates.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely is going to be an even race there. And another quick game update for you guys on StreamYard or Colorcast. We got a Dak Prescott touchdown pass to Dalton Schultz. The Dallas Cowboys lead 14-0 here. And as we are on commercial break, Ben, if we have time real quick, overreactions for week 16. A lot of stuff went down for week 16. We had upsets that went down. We had statement wins that happened. We had playoff spots clinched. Give me some of your overreactions for week 16 so far this week.
Ooh, man, there's so many directions where I can take this. I could take it the Eagles route, but that's the easy route, I want to challenge myself this week.
Yeah, that's too easy.
All right. Yeah, that's too easy. I'm going to say the Ravens are going to miss the playoffs. I really do think that. I mean, your defense looked like utter shit. Like, pardon my French, but still, Joe Burrow threw the fourth most yards in an NFL game against your sorry defense. Plain and simple. 525 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's not going to get it done in any game. Nevertheless, a team, trying to fight to make the playoffs. Bengals have your number. I don't think you're going to get in. In fact, there's this guy on TikTok named Wee Hoopin who was bragging about the Ravens having the division. They don't have that anymore. I don't think they're going to have the playoffs anymore either. I think they're done.
And you look at currently as we sit right now, the Ravens are hanging on by a thread to that 7 seed, but they got 2 tough matchups. They got the Los Angeles Rams and then the biggest rival Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's going to be very interesting how they fare the next 2 weeks. I also want to hear, do you have any other overreactions besides that? Besides the Ravens missing the playoffs, or is that your one big overreaction?
You know what? No. I'm going to take another overreaction, and I will take an Eagles route this time. If the Eagles make the playoffs, they will win their first round game.
So you're saying anybody that's a 2 seed, whether that's Green Bay, whether that's Tampa, whether that's Dallas, or the Los Angeles Rams?
Yes. You know what? Call me optimistic, and believe me, this is very optimistic. Most people think I'm insane, which I probably am. But this Eagles rushing attack had such a poor day. Poor day for, the caliber that they've been doing. I mean, they are the leading rushing team in the league ahead of the Colts. They gave premier, rushing ability the past 6, 7, whatever games. Over 200 yards rushing per game. I think they're going to pick that up. And once the running's working, then the pass has to be working because you're looking out for the run. No defense in the league can win a game while giving their opponent over 200 yards of rushing. I believe the Eagles can do that against anybody. So I think the Eagles will win their first round game and then lose.
What an interesting hot take overreaction there.
And by the way, they have upset a team in their in someone's home stadium before. Actually, pretty recently too.
Yeah, it's called the Chicago Bears and the double doink.
And ironically, Nick Foles, who beat the Chicago Bears, was playing for the Chicago Bears today.
And he actually had a game-winning drive against the Seattle Seahawks and a game-winning pass for a 2-point conversion, which is why I threw in the Nick Foles magic earlier in the chat. I'm going to go with some of my overreactions. One of my overreactions is that the Chargers are going to be one and done in the playoffs. They're not going anywhere. I mean, you talk about an embarrassment that occurred against the Texans today. That was flat out embarrassing. How do you lose 41-22 to the Houston Texans? And this is a team, Ben, to where the Chargers are currently sitting. They're currently outside of the playoff picture. The last 2 weeks, Ben, the Chargers have shot themselves in the foot. They had a chance to take the AFC West over the mighty Kansas City Chiefs. And what does head coach Brandon Staley do? Oh yeah, let's go for it here. Let's go for it here on almost basically every single fourth down. And while I'm talking, we just had a big play by the Dallas Cowboys defense. It was DeMarcus Lawrence, and it looked like it was either a pick six or a fumble recovery for 6. And just a disastrous first quarter continues for the Washington football team. Let's look at this replay one more time. We got DeMarcus Lawrence, and it was bad, and it was an interception. And we love to see a big man pick 6. We'll see if he was in bounds the whole time. He looks to be in bounds, and DeMarcus Lawrence just making the big play there for Dallas, and this. And basically this Washington team just continues to get destroyed here. This game, just think, Ben, this is only the first quarter. We're not even in the second quarter. We're not even at halftime of the third quarter, and they are already down 21-0. And the offense has turned the ball over twice. Anyway, back to my overreactions for week 16. I was staying the Los Angeles Chargers. They blew their opportunity to take first in the AFC West because their head coach, Brandon Staley, basically went for it every single fourth down inside the 5 and basically failed almost every time. That's not going to win you games. And then on top of that, in overtime, your defense gets basically bulldozed by Travis Kelce. I mean, you see that 33-yard touchdown catch and run by Kelce. He went through every single member of the defense. I mean, there were literally been about 3 to 4 instances where the Chargers had 2 to 3 guys on Kelce. And somehow Kelce managed to break those tackles, go through, and then win the game. That's the first domino. You lost the division on that game. And now you blow this game to the Houston Texans, knowing that the Indianapolis Colts just won on Christmas Day versus the Arizona Cardinals. And knowing the fact that you still have Baltimore right there, you still got the Buffalo Bills, you still got the New England Patriots, you still got Miami right behind your tail, and you lay a flat egg in that game. Now, I always say, like, the Chargers are going to Charger. That's the most Chargers thing has happened the last 2 weeks. You blow the AFC West, and now you might potentially blow a playoff spot. Now, I don't think the Chargers will blow the playoffs. I mean, I'm even going to look at the last 2 games just to make sure, but I think the Chargers will get in to the playoffs, but you also have to look at the Chargers. They don't have any luxury. The reason why the Chargers aren't the 7th seed, Ben, is because they lost to the Baltimore Ravens earlier in the year. They lost to the Baltimore Ravens earlier in the season, and now they're basically hoping and praying that the dominoes fall their way. And let me just look at their schedule here. I'm just about to pull it up here for a hot second. And Ben, you want to hear what the Chargers' final 2 weeks are for week 17 and week 18? Well, week 17, you got to play a division rival in the Denver Broncos at home. Then you got to close it out week 18 at Las Vegas versus the Las Vegas Raiders. And even the Raiders are right there in that playoff spot. So we'll definitely see what happens here. We have some comments here on the Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. We got Jimmy Jones in the comment section saying, "Hey guys, just got off work, joining more in the second half. I could hear you, which would be great." Actually, Jimmy, I am not doing it alone at the moment. Ben will tune in here either in the second half or towards the third quarter.
And say, Jimmy, give me some sugar. I'm right here.
No,
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
And we got my dad in the comment section saying, "Let's go Cowboys!" Absolutely, let's go Cowboys this week. Pick them to win this game, and so far they're on track. You scored 21 points in the first quarter. You're set up pretty well for success. And then just looking at the Chargers, man, it's just why do the Chargers always seem to do this, Ben? Just when we think the Chargers are ready to make the next step, they take 2 steps back. We thought they were ready to take the next step and possibly compete with Kansas City in the AFC West. And then they fell 2 steps back by losing to those same Chiefs in overtime and lost the division. And now you have this bad loss to the Houston Texans, which, if you look at it right now, they're right there at the 8 seed. The Raiders are right behind them at 9. You got the Dolphins playing the Saints on Monday night, which, in my honest opinion, will pretty much set the tone for this playoff picture. If the Dolphins find a way to beat the Saints, they're going to be, it'll be interesting to see the playoffs there. But if the Saints win, now what will be interesting to me here is if the Saints win in the NFC, how will they match up with compared to other teams? But that'll be something to where we will see what'll happen with that one. But just overall, just putrid disappointment there by the Los Angeles Chargers. And just to give a quick update, we have a big play there by the Washington football team. Heineke just throwing it deep, just a prayer to his receivers. And it was very successful, caught by D. Brown for a gain of 48 yards. They are near the red zone here. They do a nice little, almost like a sweep toss. It's wide open, and he gets another first down there. And then another overreaction that I will go as far of saying for week 16 has to be. I mean, it's hard. I could go at this a lot of different ways, but one overreaction that I will say is that the Arizona Cardinals will be one and done. The Arizona Cardinals, they clinched the playoff spot, but I think they'll be one and done. I'm not buying this Cardinals team. I think if they have to play the Cowboys in the wild card round, I think they're going to lose to the Cowboys. I think even if they win the division, and if they have to match up against your Birds or maybe another team, I don't think the Cardinals can match up with that team. I mean, there's something wrong with the Cardinals. They are terrible at home, and something has to change for Arizona. Something has to change. And, it's one of those to where if you're going to fire Cliff Kingsbury, who are you going to hire to replace him? I mean, you look at you're 10-5 this year, and you made the playoffs for the first time in almost 6 or 7 years. We got Jimmy in the comment section saying Heineke and Mills going to be starting somewhere next season. Absolutely have a good case there. But, back on what I was saying about the Cardinals, I'm just not sold by this team. I don't know why they collapsed the last 2 years. You look at last year, they were 5-2 and they collapsed to 8-8. And then this year they were 7-0, and now they've lost 5 of the last 8 games. I don't know what has to change. I mean, yeah, you don't have DeAndre Hopkins, which definitely doesn't help, but at the same time, you pretty much have the same team. You still have Kyler Murray at quarterback. You still have Chandler Jones on your defense. And you lose bad games. You were embarrassed by Detroit. AJ Green's controller died versus the Green Bay Packers. If all he did was turn around to the right instead of to the left, it's a game-winning touchdown. But instead, he looks left, doesn't know where the ball is, and Russell Douglas, which, by the way, Ben, has been the biggest addition the Green Bay Packers have ever made this year. Rasul friggin' Douglas coming in clutch. Former Philadelphia Eagle, former Super Bowl champion of the Philadelphia Eagles, helping out the Green Bay Packers. He now, Ben, has 4 interceptions. 4. How about? I mean, it's incredible. I love what I see out of Rasul Douglas. Maybe, Ben, you should get a Packers jersey of Rasul Douglas. Maybe if you want to.
Maybe, but I'm gonna step aside for a little bit. So hold down the fort while I'm gone, and I'll be there soon. All right.
All right, definitely sounds good. Sounds good, Ben. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Ben Hoyt. He will be tuning in on, the Unwrapped Sports Network YouTube channel, all that sort of stuff, and the Color Cast as well. We have hit the end of quarter 1. Dallas Cowboys dominating the first quarter, up 21-0 over the Washington football team. And once again, like I was stating with the Arizona Cardinals, they're not a good team. And it's just something is different, about this Arizona Cardinals team. They were red hot. They were red hot the first 7 weeks of the season. First 7 weeks, they were one of the best teams in all of football. They had big statement wins over teams like the Los Angeles Rams, all that. But it just seems like ever since that one hiccup loss to the Green Bay Packers, they seem to be that they have recovered. They have not recovered since that loss. And now they don't have the NFC West. I mean, you have the playoff spot, which is fantastic. But talking about going from the top of the NFC all the way down to 5th, that has to be a fall from grace. And, even if you're the Cardinals, if you want to fire Cliff Kingsbury, who are you going to replace him with? Who will you replace him with that'll give you as much of a chance of success as the other guys? Are you going to trust the college ranks? Are you going to trust one of those coaches that might be fired this offseason? Like, if you're going to bring in Mike Zimmer, is Mike Zimmer going to help this team? I'm just not sure. We'll see if the Cardinals can prove me wrong. They got a big game week 17 versus this exact Dallas Cowboys team. And we'll see if they turn around. It's going to be tough, but we will definitely see if they turn it around there. But those are my overreactions for week 16. You heard Ben Hoyt's overreactions for week 16. We are just about to get underway here in the second quarter here. Second down and goal for the Washington football team as they sit down at the Dallas 8-yard line here. Looking to try and gain some momentum right back into this game. Let's see if they do that here. Cowboys looking to bring the blitz. Heineke rolling, and throwing, and just out of the reach of Adam Humphrey's hands. There's 3rd and goal there. Cowboys brought the pressure. Heineke failed to deliver. And it'll be interesting here to see what Washington does here. If it is 4th and goal, whether or not they will go for it or just settle for the points. We'll wait and see what they simply decide to do there. We got 3rd and goal here. Looking to pass. It is to Antonio Gibson, and he is in for the end zone. We got a touchdown. Washington football team. Heineke with the perfect pass to Antonio Gibson. Gibson with the green grass area ahead of him, able to cash it in. Washington gets the touchdown here. They cut the deficit to 2 scores. And you're looking now, we'll see if they can get the PAT up and underway. We'll see here. And the snap is good. Hold is good. And the kick is good. Washington slowly starting to come back into the deficit. But the Dallas Cowboys still have the lead. Dallas 21, Washington 7 here as we head to commercial break. And And Jim, with the comment section here, the touchdown, the football team, can we get a better mascot? Ooh. Hey, man, I'll say with the Washington football team, maybe the mascot is just going to be maybe you have 3 different guys with the letters W, F, and T. And then that'll be a mascot there of the Washington football team. That would be a killer mascot right there if I were to tell you. And let's talk about a game that really kind of stuck out to me here for week 16. One of the games that stood out to me was the Los Angeles Rams versus the Minnesota Vikings. As we look at the Rams walked away with the victory over the Minnesota Vikings 30-23. Rams with that victory solidifying their spot atop the NFC West. They sit at the number 2 seed as if the playoff picture were to start today. And in fact, I'll even show our audience here to where if the playoffs were to start today, this is exactly what both the AFC playoff picture would look like and the NFC playoff picture would look like if the playoffs were to start today. This would be what the playoff spot would look like. Give me 1 second here. A second while the pages load here. And currently right now, if the playoffs were to start today, for the AFC side of things, it would be the Chiefs 1, Titans 2, Bengals have the 3rd seed, Bills 4, Colts have the 5th seed, Patriots the 6th, and the Ravens just hanging on by a thread with the 7th seed with the Chargers, Raiders, Dolphins, Steelers, Browns, Broncos, all battling for a playoff spot and just barely missing. On the NFC side of things, if the playoffs were to start today, the Green Bay Packers would be the number 1 seed. The Los Angeles Rams, with their win over the Vikings, would be the 2 seed. The Bucs would be the 3rd seed. The Cowboys would be the 4th seed. The Arizona Cardinals would be the 5th. The 49ers 6th. And the Philadelphia Eagles 7th. And the reason why I bring that up is just for the simple fact of that Rams Vikings game really decided a lot there. And Jimmy, I hope so, man. Packers all the way. I truly hope so. I think Green Bay's got a good shot. We're in a good position, but 1 week at a time. We got the Vikings week 17 and the Lions week 18. Hopefully we get a first round bye. Hopefully, Bakhtiari comes back, Alexander comes back, and Zadarius Smith comes back, all nice and healthy. We'll see. We'll see how the Green Bay Packers shape up there. And hopefully our defense could step things up because our defense has been slumping as of late. Not really the same defense we saw like against the Cardinals, against the Chiefs, against the Seahawks, just from being able to hold the team to less points. But our defense did get 4 key turnovers versus the Browns, 4 nice interceptions. So we'll see what happens there. And Jimmy says that Alexander should be back next week. And I will say with Jair Alexander, I would say take his time. I would say at worst case scenario, if we have everything locked up, then maybe just have him take week 18 as a game for him to get him some game reps, week 18 against Detroit. And I would say the same thing just for all of our injured guys. If Zadarius Smith is clear to play, if Bakhtiari is clear to play, and if Jair Alexander is clear to play, why not play them week 18? Why not get some game reps underway? And if we do have the 1 seed clinched, you have another bye week. And then by the divisional round, they would have a game under their belt. They will basically have some more rest, and they'll be clearly set and ready to go by the time the divisional round occurs. So we'll definitely see. I hope Jair Alexander is back next week against Minnesota because, boy, last time when we played Minnesota, Justin Jefferson just had himself a day versus our secondary. So, we'll see what happens. And in my honest opinion, it's all on the doctor's clearance. If the doctors give him the clearance, give him the go-ahead, Jair will play. But if they don't give him a clearance, if LaFleur and company still think he's not ready yet, then he probably won't play. We'll have to see we'll have to see what happens there. Let me share the screen here. And as we look at here, Dallas had a nice big pass play there. They set it up down at the Washington 32-yard line. It is second down. It's second down at about 10 yards here for the Dallas Cowboys as they look to try and continue the scoring rampage that they've been on so far. Got Dak looking, able to escape the pocket, runs for a first down, and he gets out of bounds at about the 19-yard line. They are right back in the red zone. So on a nice 13-yard run there by Dak Prescott. And what great mobility that was for that play. Just look at him run, able to get through and making a nice big play there by the Dallas Cowboys offense. They've been able to do it all through the air, on the ground, even the defense getting 2 interceptions, one of them being a pick six. We'll see what happens there. And then they try again with the run to no gain. And we have Jimmy in the comment section saying, Alexander, he has been practicing, so I'm not sure what the holdup has been for Alexander. I'm not sure what the holdup has been as well. I think it's just simply, getting some reps under him, getting some nice practice reps. And you also look at the way how this Packers secondary has been playing, even without Jair Alexander, has been very impressive. We've been able to keep in check some big-name receivers. Now, obviously, the last 2 weeks versus the Ravens versus the Browns, hasn't really helped. But, just overall for most of the season, it's been very impressive what we have been able to do, since, Jair Alexander has got hurt. We've seen the emergence of Rasul Douglas. We've seen, Eric Stokes become one of our top corners. Even Kevin King, when he is healthy, he's emerged as a good corner as well for the Green Bay Packers. So we'll see if Alexander plays next week. Hopefully he does. And, we just got to keep on carrying on from there. We got a 3rd and 2 play here for the Washington football team as they're not the Washington football team, the Dallas Cowboys down at the Washington 11-yard line. They hand it off to Ezekiel Elliott. He's inside the 5, and it looks to be just short of the end zone down at the 1-yard line. There for the Dallas Cowboys as they look to punch it in yet again here, just rolling through this Washington defense, just flat out domination so far. And you look at just a beautiful run play, clean blocking there by the Cowboys, and Ezekiel Elliott just a little bit short, but we'll see here if he got it. I don't know. It looks very close. We'll see if they look at it through the replay. We'll see if this camera angle is enough. I don't know. He looks like he might have got in. It looks like he might have got in. We'll see when they look at the replay, and they do call it a touchdown for the Dallas Cowboys. So Ezekiel Elliott gets in for the touchdown. 7 being marked down at the 1. They call it a touchdown. And just Dallas just overall dominating here. 232 total yards of offense for the Cowboys. Meanwhile, Washington barely has 100 yards. Nice run there by Ezekiel Elliott. And I'm pretty sure fantasy football owners of Ezekiel Elliott are very thankful for the kind of performance he has put on so far in this first half as the Dallas Cowboys, off the foot of Greg Zuerlein, lead by a score of 28-7. The snap is good, hold is good, and the kick is good as well. The Dallas Cowboys take the lead 28-7. And here, as we head to commercial break, I'll give my team looking, the Green Bay Packers looking, and the Green Bay Packers, they are sitting pretty. They are 12-3 with a big win over the Cleveland Browns, 24-22. They already have the NFC North clinched, and they have the 1 seed one step closer. Search for the Green Bay Packers. And I will say overall, I have mixed feelings about that. I have mixed feelings about that Packers-Browns game. On the bright side, the defense getting 4 takeaways. The Packers getting 21 points off those 4 turnovers was definitely huge. But I'm very concerned with our offense. That offense that we played in the second half was absolutely terrible. You can't win games when you only score 3 points in a half. That's unacceptable. Green Bay's offense has to play better. I honestly don't know why we didn't run the ball more. I thought we held it pretty good on the run game. Obviously, Adams did his thing, had over 100 yards, had 2 touchdowns. Alan Lazard did his thing as well. But for the most part, our offense was pretty much about 4 guys. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. Well, I'll go 5. I'll go Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon, that's about it. 4 to about 5. I'll repeat it one more time. You got Rodgers, you got Jones and Dillon, Devontae Adams, and Alan Lazard. That was pretty much it. You have to have the whole unit work in unison for you to be able to win. Now, luckily, we won just because we had to play the Cleveland Browns, and Baker Mayfield just is not that guy, and he threw us 4 interceptions. But if we got to play a team like Tampa or Dallas or the Rams in the playoffs, we can't afford to play like that, or else we're going to lose 9 times out of 10 playing that way. Because that game right there for Green Bay was unacceptable. Now, obviously, you get the win, and you're satisfied with the win. You're satisfied you got the job done. A win's a win. You'll take it as it is. But boy, was that hard to watch. And we even had some uncharacteristic drops. Even on a what looked like to be a 3rd and 4, Rodgers threw it perfectly to Adams. Had a key drop there. And some even say we got away with a no call. And it sure looked like it. It looked like Douglas kind of held the jersey of Donovan Peoples-Jones, which resulted in the interception. But, you take it and run, and now we got the Vikings next week at Lambeau Field, who will be battling for pretty much their playoff lives. Whether or not they get in or not could very well hinge on that game. So we will see what happens here. And that was it for the Green Bay Packers. But overall, good win, 12-3, one step closer to 1 seed, and that's pretty much all you can ask for. If you are the Green Bay Packers. And we look at here, we are back from commercial break. We got about 10:34 left in this first half. The Dallas Cowboys just dominating this game here, 28-7. We got Heineke looking to pass, and he is sacked as this Cowboys defense just smothering the Washington football team. Talk about one team being better than the other. This game right here is the exact exemplification of this situation right here. You look at, and there really isn't anything Heineke can do there. The old line just wasn't able to hold up, and it just simply happens. And now they're down 28-7. They're down at their own 20-yard line. We'll see if they bounce back here. And we'll see if they had someone jump early on the Cowboy side of things. But a nice return, nice run play there by Washington. We'll see if they call offside on the Cowboys defense, and we'll most definitely accept, so you could have a 2nd down and 10. And it was definitely offside on the Dallas Cowboys. Boys here, we'll see if Washington can cash in from that. But when you're down 21, it's very hard to cash in on a lot of things. So we'll see if they could use this drive here, maybe even convert for a touchdown, maybe get something closer to there. But we'll see what happens here. We got 2nd down and 10 back at the original line of scrimmage here. For the Washington football team as they try and get this offense going. And we'll see what happens here. We got Heineke in the backfield, the receiver going into motion, and they hand it off to, it looks like J.D. McKissick, Antonio Gibson with a nice run all the way down to their own 40-yard line. Nice 15-yard run. That is a 1st down here for the Washington football team as they try to inch their way closer to trying to get a comeback versus the Dallas Cowboys. As we look at Heineke, nice little flip pass to Gibson. Gibson gains about 3 to 4 yards, as it will be second down and about 7 yards for the Washington football team. Second down and 6. And I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised here if they decided to try a run with the pass play here. Maybe try to get a big play down the field. See if you could get a PI call or anything like that, and to see if you could get some momentum going here if you're Washington. We got second down and 6 here. We got Ethan Garboni in the color cast. Thank you for tuning in. Where's Ben? Ben is currently doing a Philly podcast. He might be back here during halftime. And Ethan Garboni, if you want to get on, whether that's the hot seat, if you want to get on the hot seat, just let me know. And whatever time you want, I could put you on, for 10, 20, maybe even 30 minutes if you'd like for the hot seat. And hey, how about those Bears getting a big win, over how about those Bears a big win over the Seahawks? All right, you said to hop on a little, just need to edit something. Well, once you finish editing something, Ethan, let me know, and I will add you on to the hot seat for Colorcast. As we look at here, third down and 8, play clock down to 1. Just gets it underway. A nice screen pass to the running back, but it is clearly snuffed out by the Dallas Cowboys. And it is 4th down for Washington, and they will most likely have to punt it away to this red-hot Cowboys offense that is currently rolling at this point in time. And one thing I will say, man, if the Dallas Cowboys play like this, as we have Ethan Garboni here requesting the mic, let me get him on. Let me get him on the color cast here for a hot second. And I will put on Ethan for 30 minutes. I'll put him on the mic here to talk a little bit of the Sunday game, talk about the Chicago Bears, and just all that kind of stuff. We got Ethan Garboni here live on a color cast and also through all of our StreamYards that we have up in store. We just hit commercial break. Dallas leads 28-7. Ethan, how are you doing this fine Sunday, December 26th?
I'm great. I got home with a minute and 40 seconds left in the Bears game because I was coming back from Cali, and I see, oh my God, the Bears went for 2 and they got it because I'm like tracking the game on my phone in the ride back. And I watched that entire last defensive possession, and I'm like, wow, they did it.
And I kind of want to throw this out to you, Ethan. You really want Matt Nagy fired badly. Do you think even after this win, when they sit at 5-10, do you still think that they should fire Nagy even after this win against Seattle, or do you think they're just going to move off from him after season's end?
I think that the Bears, and for some reason the McCaskies, think it's rude to fire someone who puts on this quality of football on every Sunday, and they think it's rude to fire someone during the mid-season mark. So I think they end up keeping him. I think you got to fire him at this point. Being your new coaching candidates, there's plenty of them out there. There's a lot of bad ones that they're probably going to interview, but there's a few good ones that I'd like.
And while we're on the subject of head coaches and the good ones, since you're a Bears fan, what head coach will you be looking to once they decide to fire Matt Nagy?
No, that's tough. I mean, I'm personally thinking Kellen Moore. That's my top pick. I want the Cowboys offensive coordinator.
Definitely interesting take there. I thought for sure maybe more of a veteran guy, maybe like I was thinking maybe more of like a Jim Caldwell possibly. He's won in Detroit. He took Indy to the Super Bowl that one year in 2009, but Kellen Moore would not be a bad option. Good offensive mind in Dallas. Hopefully he could help develop Justin Fields. Hopefully we could see Fields in more of a mobile kind of guy, maybe kind of like a Dak Prescott.
Let's hope. I mean,
The NFL's better when the Packers and the Bears are both good. Just like you could argue the NCAA is better when Texas is back, whenever that will be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. When Texas is back, NCAA football is for sure good with that statement. Ethan, I also kind of want to throw it out there. You're big into college football as well. And while we're on the subject of Texas, they recently got a transfer QB, Quincy Ewers, from Ohio State. He originally committed to Ohio State, went a year out of high school to cash in on the NIL. He cashed in on NIL. Little did we know CJ Stroud was going to be basically a Heisman contender, a Heisman finalist. He transfers to Texas. Now that Ewers is in Texas, one, will he be the starter? And two, if he is a starter, can Texas win more than 5 games, or will Texas be somewhat back to winning 8 or 9 games, or will they just be the same old Texas, barely win 6 games?
I think Texas is going to win anywhere from 7 to 9 games next year. I'm not a Texas expert, but I can see him starting. I think their starting quarterback this year transferred. Or backup, I forget which one, because I don't really follow that personally. I get to follow Illinois football, meaning that a 6-win season makes me very happy. But I'm looking at Texas and the Quinn Ewers situation, and I'm thinking, kid either wanted to cash in on NIL because high school players in Texas can't do it. So he wanted to cash in, come back, and say, you know what, screw it. Or he was thinking, I'm going to sit behind the quarterback, I'm going to beat him out for the job next year. Didn't, and realized that he's probably not going to start until his sophomore year, his redshirt sophomore year, meaning his regular junior year had he not redshirted.
I think...
Or he went there, got homesick, transfers back to Texas.
I think it's more of along the lines of he couldn't beat CJ Stroud. To be quite frank, I didn't really know CJ Stroud had this much talent. Like, I kind of looked at Ohio State, I'm like, oh, you know what, their QB situation gonna be a little interesting. You get this kid CJ Stroud go in, and he put on a show. Besides having the tough loss to Oregon and a loss to Michigan for the first time in about a decade, CJ Stroud was dominant. CJ Stroud looked good. He was a Heisman finalist. He didn't win the Heisman. Obviously, we know Bryce Young won the Heisman, but being in the Final Four for your first year as a starter has to be impressive. And I think Quinn Ewers looked at that and it was like, you know what? I was originally a Texas product. Why not go back to Texas? Their QB situation can easily be one to where I could be a starter. And why not? Why not try and somewhat bring Texas back? They've been a dumpster fire. Besides 2018 when they made it to the Sugar Bowl, it's been a dumpster fire year in and year out since Mac Brown retired and left. And, guys like Colt McCoy and Vince Young went on their ways. And, maybe Quentin Ewers could turn things around, maybe. But I'm still going to be on the mindset of Texas is going to be one of those teams to where they're going to hiccup. They're always going to have a bad loss. They're always going to lose to Oklahoma. And maybe they'll get, like you mentioned, 7 to 9 wins. Never a team that'll be in the CFP playoff picture, but, who knows? Maybe Quentin Ewers could shock the world and bring Texas to the CFP. But
this is Texas. If they go to the SEC, Quinn Ewers turns out to be all he was in high school. They're bringing in big-time recruits. They're bringing in a lot of people that they wouldn't have necessarily gotten. And if the coaching is there, I see no reason why we're not seeing Texas in the futurist title contender because, again, this is Texas. You know Texas for football. And eventually in 2029, when Nick Saban's contract's up, assuming that he doesn't resign and that this was his last extension, I don't see a reason why not.
Absolutely. I think it'll be interesting to see if Nick Saban continues to coach after his contract extension in 2029, because that'll push him at least towards his 70s, correct? By the end of his contract in 2029.
And let's see, Nick Saban age.
You know,
he's a solid 70 years old already.
Oh, so he's 70 already. By the end of his contract, he'll probably be 77, 78. He'll probably have another 3 to 4 championships. You know, he's already. I mean, he's already got. He already has, I think, 7. He already has what, 8 as a head coach already, because he passed. He has 7 in Alabama. He got 1 at LSU. He's well on his way to get number 8 this year for Bama this year. Could be 9 overall.
I want you to say so sure. If one player screws up, goes out, parties, gets the team COVID, their game gets canceled. We could very well be seeing. I'm assuming it won't happen. I'm assuming all the coaches will tell their players, "We will kick you off the team if you go out and get COVID." But I could very well see a potential of, Cincinnati gets COVID, Alabama gets tested, someone gets COVID, team gets COVID, can't play. Games aren't being rescheduled. If we really see all 3 teams get COVID and 1 team not, and they're named the national champion, we could see a Cincinnati team win the national championship.
Yeah, we'll definitely
lay a finger on the football.
Yeah, we'll definitely see about that. I personally think in the championship game, it's going to be Alabama versus Michigan. I'm not sold on Georgia at all. I think they will forever be always overrated. I think they should have started JT Daniels from the start. I don't know why you have Stetson. What, his last name is like Bennett or something. I mean, he's average. You know, he was an average quarterback. You know, obviously he played great. Why? Because the Georgia defense was flourishing. But against Alabama, you should have threw in JT Daniels and gave him a shot. You didn't throw in JT Daniels, and what happens? You know, your defense failed, and then Bennett had crucial turnovers. You know, we'll see what Georgia does versus Michigan, but I just trust Michigan more. I think Michigan is built different. I think things are starting to go Michigan's way. You know, you finally beat Ohio State for the first time in a decade. You know, you don't lose to Penn State. You know, obviously you blew it against Michigan State, but we don't talk about that. You know, you win the Big Ten championship game. I think things are going pretty well for Michigan. And you're looking for Georgia. The games that matter most for Georgia, they've pretty much vanished. Like, yeah, you play Clemson early in the year, but you only scored 10 points. And then your next somewhat close game is Florida, but we know Florida is dead. You know, we know Florida is just down the water. Quick update here, 3rd and goal. Nice play action pass, and it is a nice touchdown pass from Dak Prescott to the offensive lineman. We have yet another big man touchdown here for the Dallas Cowboys as the route continues in Big D as they are up a score of 34-7, awaiting the extra point of Greg Zuerlein. And I will say, what a nice play action that was. Totally, the Washington football team bought into getting Tony Pollard. The big man slips out. Prescott throws it perfectly, and we get to see a nice fat man touchdown, which everybody loves to see. Don't you like to see big man touchdown, Ethan? Oh, no. Ethan, do we?
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Hey, Ethan, do we like big man touchdowns?
Yep. I mean, I'm personally rooting for a CD Lamb one, but that ain't happening at all this game at this point.
Absolutely. And then overall, as we had to a commercial break, Dallas up 35-7. Back to what I was saying about, you know, Georgia and them being overrated. Like, they, in my honest opinion, they had three somewhat big games this year. That first week against Clemson, and they only scored 10 points. Even though Florida stunk this year, they were just terrible. I mean, they still get owned by LSU, and they were just overall just terrible. You obviously dominate Florida, but then you had your chance to prove yourself. You had a chance to prove yourself. You were worthy against Alabama. You had this so-called vaunted defense. You had one of the best defensive players on the front line. and you allow 41 points. Are you kidding me? I mean,
sure, that is college. In college, we're seeing teams that have it'll be a top 10 team versus a top 25 team. It'll be like the number 9 team versus number 21 team. And we'll see the spread at like 13 and a half. A spread that you'd usually see if it were the Rams playing the, Dolphins. In the NFL. College games are much more high scoring. You can't compare a score and defenses in college to NFL, because in the NFL you have a bunch of professionals. Although they might not play like it, they technically are. In college, you have a couple future professionals. Not necessarily all of them. I don't think we've seen a single team have all 11 starters on one side of the ball go pro. Maybe, but I'm not sure.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll definitely see about that. But I just think Michigan versus Georgia, when that occurs December 31st, I just trust them. I just trust them more. I trust Jim Harbaugh, what he's doing. I mean, I know the last couple of years before this year occurred, they obviously had a lot of bad losses. They previously got owned by Ohio State year in and year out. They would always seem to have a bad loss to either Michigan State or Penn State. And, they would always fail to make the Big Ten. But this year, it just feels different. You got Hutchinson proving that he's one of the best pass rushers in college. And I just think Michigan, they're just riding the wave. They're riding a whole lot of momentum here. We got Michael Lawson here in the color cast saying, "Dem Cowboys." Absolutely, Michael. The Cowboys are just dominating Washington on basically all fronts, whether that's offense, whether that's defense. We'll see what happens here. We also got Jimmy in the comment section saying, and also I'm catching up. What's the emails joke? Ethan, for StreamYard, Ben and I agreed to put the Washington football team as their team name called Emails because the email scandal that happened to them earlier in the NFL season. Which answers your exact question, Jimmy. The emails is basically the email scandal that happened with Washington earlier this year. Just because spelling out Washington football team is too long, we think emails is perfectly short, sweet, and to the point. And you get a nice meme in there.
Yep. And on that note, Matt, I got to go. I have not eaten dinner yet. I have to record my show, John, and I thought I was going to hop on for a little bit. So I might join back later. And thank you for having me on.
Anytime. Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan Carboni. That was Ethan Carboni there. We got 1st and 10 here for Washington as they're down at their own 46-yard line. It has been a blowout here in this game. We have Michael Lawson in the comment section saying Dak for MVP. I think it'll be interesting to see how he matches up, especially when, he missed some time during the season. You saw Cooper Rush play against Minnesota. So we'll see how that matches up there. We hit the 2-minute warning with the Dallas Cowboys dominating this game 35-7. And man, just overall this game, it has been very, very impressive here. This stat line, and it's very one-sided. I mean, just looking at the team stats, you got the Washington football team side of things. Only 129 total yards, 2 turnovers, only 9 minutes of possession. You only have 7 first downs, only 21 total plays, and only 6.1 yards of play. You're only 1 of 4 of third down conversions. 93 passing yards, 44 rush yards, and doing pretty decent in the red zone. But on the Dallas side of things, it's very dominant. 35 points already, 312 yards, almost 18 minutes of time possession, 18 first downs, 40 total plays, 7.8 yards per play, 6 of 7 on third down, 245 passing yards, 73 rushing yards. Just overall complete dominance by the Dallas Cowboys. You look at Dak Prescott. He has 4 carries for 21 yards. He's also completing 21 of 23, 245, 3 touchdowns. Hopefully you got Dak Prescott on your fantasy team because he is putting up some numbers for them. We got Ezekiel Elliott, 6 carries, 30 yards, 1 reception, 5 yards. He's got 2 total touchdowns. We got Terrence Steele, who had the big man touchdown. China. We also have Dalton Schultz for the 1 touchdown. And then, of course, DeMarcus Lawrence having the pick 6. So a lot of things going down here for Dallas. Very dominant, very one-sided matchup here. With the Dallas Cowboys winning this game so far 35-7. And while we're on a commercial break here, we are just nearing 2 minutes. 2 minutes just before halftime. And some things I will talk about during halftime. I'll talk about some of the Week 16 games that occurred, and even some fantasy football updates for my teams. I am currently in 9 fantasy leagues, which is a lot, and I made the playoffs in 7 out of those 9 fantasy leagues. I'll give you an update on how I'm faring in each of those. So while they're back from commercial break, we got 3rd down and 9 here for the Washington football team. And on the 2nd and 9 play, you had Heineke throw a nice incompletion right there. Just slightly overthrew his guy, aimed towards the sideline, and it just did not succeed. Didn't succeed very well. Here we got 3rd down and 9 here for the Washington football team down at their own 47-yard line. We'll see if this offense can get it rolling. See if maybe they could try and cut the deficit to 3 scores instead of 4 scores. But for the most part, just like I always stated, utter dominance by the Dallas Cowboys. Now 3rd and 9 here. Heineke looking to throw deep. He's got a guy, and it's incomplete. He had Terry McLaurin against Trayvon Diggs. And Heineke just slightly overthrew Terry McLaurin. And in my honest opinion, if I'm Washington, I might just say to hell with it and go for it on 4th and 9 just to see if they can convert. And look at what's crazy is McLaurin, he had him beat. And Heineke just missed. And definitely a good no call there. Definitely was not defensive PI at all, and it just a simple trip, a simple slip up there by McLaurin, and now the Cowboys get the ball back with another opportunity to score. Fair catch called for the Dallas Cowboys as they are down at their own 11-yard line. We've got Dak Prescott running out on the field here, dominating first half so far to this point. Up 35-7, and definitely looking for more. Because as the old saying goes, the more, the merrier. Then definitely the more, the merrier here in this game. Just Dallas has just been dominating. Just flat out big. Big moves after big moves so far this game. We'll see what even occurs here. And we got Dak looking to pass, and it is incomplete. Almost intercepted there by the Washington defense, but falling just a little bit short. And it's once again 2nd down and 10 here for the Washington football team. The Dallas Cowboys. Is Dak looking deep throw, and it is complete to Amari Cooper. A nice big play there as gain of 18 yards down to their own 29-yard line. Also being able to get out of bounds there. They're saving some clock there. But Dak just getting underway, looking for yet another deep throw, and did almost making a spectacular catch there once again was Amari Cooper. Just looking at that throw one more time. It looked like it was beautifully placed on the spot. We'll see one more time here. Dak just almost threaded the needle right in. Just Cooper looks like just couldn't haul it in. But so far dominating here. This first half. We got Dak looking to pass, throwing, and incomplete. It is 3rd and 10 here for the Dallas Cowboys. They are up 35-7 here, down at their own 29-yard line. And as we once again approach here, 3rd down and 10 for the Dallas Cowboys, we got Dak Prescott here in the shotgun formation, having two backs to the right and to the left of him, looking to pass once again, throwing, finds a nice completion to the check down of looks like Dalton Schultz. Nice check down pass to Dalton Schultz as the Cowboys looking to use one of their timeouts. As they are trying to add on some more points to further ensure their lead versus the Washington football team. And as we look at here, Dak Prescott just dominating first half stat line, 23 of 28, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Just pure dominance. It's in this first half here by the Dallas Cowboys as a whole. We got 1st and 10. They are down at their own 40-yard line. Dak looking to pass, moving, and he just has to throw it away. There as he is almost sacked there by the Washington football team. And you look at that, and that's almost. I'm impressed Dak was able to throw that one away. Very few players can make that throw where they have a defender on them and just having to huck it to the sidelines. And Dak did exactly that, avoids intentional grounding and saves their use of a timeout. And here we got Dak Prescott here in the backfield, looking to throw once again. It is a nice completed pass. To the Cowboys receiver. Cowboys are looking to probably rush it up, looking to run one more play. Here's it down to 35 seconds left. Dak looking to pass once again. Throwing it is complete to Dalton Schultz, and he gets out of bounds for a gain of 8. As they are down here at the Washington 40-yard line, 2nd down and 2. As it is an 8-yard pass here, about 24 seconds left for the Dallas Cowboys as Dak just recently threw an incomplete pass. He tried to go deep, just slightly overthrew Amari Cooper. But we'll see what kind of play design here they have on 3rd and 2. Will not be shocked here if they either try to go a run play to Zeke or maybe just a quick pass, maybe try and get out of bounds, or if not, utilize one of their final timeouts. And as we look at here, 3rd down and 2 for Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, an empty backfield. Looking to pass once again. Looking to go deep again. And there is no call on that play. It is 4th down and 2. And we will see what the Cowboys decide to call here. Whether or not they go for it on 4th down is to be determined. As some people will say, TBD. We got 4th and 2 here for Dallas, and the offense is looking to stay on the field. as they're going for it here on 4th and 2. Would not be shocked here if the Cowboys just simply try and get them to jump. See if they get the Washington football team to jump offside. Maybe see if they could try and get a first down. Here, 4th and 2. Dak looking to pass yet again. Looking, throwing. And it is complete to Schultz and a big hit by the Washington football team defense. And there is a flag thrown as Schultz just got rocked. What a hit that is. We'll see what the officials call. Probably personal foul on the play. But I mean, you look at just straight to the head area. That is a no-go. Definitely going to be a 15-yard penalty. Definitely a hit right there. Probably just exerting frustration of a terrible first half. And as we look at here, Schultz still down after that big hit. And boy, that was a big hit right there that he took. And he was able to get up and walk away after that one. I'm impressed he's able to get up and walk away after that, because that was a huge hit that he took, but he was able to hang on to the ball, able to catch it. Or catch it. You got about 10 or so seconds. Maybe you run one more play, see if you get to the end zone, and if worst case, you just settle for a field goal and possibly go up by 31 points instead of 35. We'll see what happens here. So Dak looking to pass, looking, throwing, end zone, and it is caught by Amari Cooper. Touchdown, Dallas. Dallas strikes yet another touchdown for the Cowboys. They complete a dominating first half with yet another touchdown. They continue to hold on to the lead as they are now up 41-7 here, awaiting the PAT attempt by Greg Zuerlein. Zuerlein, we got down in the comment section say Cowboys looking good tonight. Absolutely, man. The Cowboys are just clicking on all cylinders, whether that's defense getting interceptions, Dak Prescott hitting throws, and his receivers making big catches. We got the Dallas Cowboys leading 42-7 as we are nearing halftime. We got 5 seconds left to go. And I would not be shocked if at some point during this game, you'll probably see Cooper Rush in at quarterback, just so Dak Prescott can get some more rest to prepare for the Week 17 game against Arizona. All right, and we are back here. We got 5 seconds left to go here in the first half. And man, we got another half of football to go, and this game looks to be over. To be quite honest, you're down 35 if you're Washington. It's a very hard hill to climb out of, but I mean, you're gonna need a lot of miracles here to just find a way to come back, because it's brutal. It's definitely a brutal game to try and come back. You know, you're gonna basically need to have everything correctly go your way, and that's gonna be very hard to do. And to be quite frank here, if I'm Washington, I would just take this ball, just do a QB kneel, and just take it to the second half. And let's see exactly what they decide to do here. Got Taylor Heineke going out to most likely take the snap, probably going to do a QB kneel and head to the locker room to start off the next half. And as we look at here, they are going into QB kneel formation. Heineke will take the knee, and we go into halftime. The Dallas Cowboys lead the Washington football team 42-7. And while we are at halftime, let me pull up the screen here for all of Week 16 action that went down all the way up to this point here. For halftime, I'll do my best to recap each one of these games, and just to simply say, what went down for Week 16, what big upsets occurred, what big wins occurred, and just to see how the NFL draft, even how the NFL draft order looks, because even that was somewhat decided, after this week. And as we look at here at the live scores for Week 16, we look at some big games here that occurred while we await. The only game that we pretty much have to wait for is Monday night between the Dolphins and the Saints, which I'll give my quick 2 cents on. I think this is going to be a dominating win by the Dolphins. I mean, you look at the Saints, you got no Taysom Hill, got no Trevor Siemian. Jameis has been hurt since the game against Tampa. And you look at the Dolphins, Tua is rolling. The whole team is rolling. They've won 6 straight. I think the Dolphins are going to keep it going. I think they're going to keep the ball rolling. And I think it's going to be a big win there by Miami. And they're going to be right in the thick of it for the playoff race. The rest of the games that went down, obviously, I touched up a little bit on the Titans and the 49ers. But just overall, it was a good win by Tennessee. Gets them one step closer to clinching the AFC South. Now all they simply have to do now is, I believe, just win Week 17. And I believe they clinch the division. Just that simple. And they were able to get it done for the Niners. Just a heartbreaking loss. So, if you find a way to win that, you have a game cushion ahead. Now you're right there tied with the Philadelphia Eagles. Was there for that 7th seed. Luckily, you beat Philly earlier this year, because if you didn't, you'd be down on the 7th seed. We'll just see how that shapes up there. Once again, Browns-Packers, touch up on that. Great win by the Packers. Got 4 takeaways, 21 points. And just overall, big wins, big things that you like to see there. Then also, on the flip side thing for the Indianapolis Colts versus the Arizona Cardinals, touched up on it a little bit as well, but big win by the Indianapolis Colts. They inch one step closer to clinching the postseason and puts more pressure on the Tennessee Titans to win out the next 2 games, or else you might not even win the division. And you're looking for the Colts, another win against another good opponent. Had a big win against the Pats Week 15. They followed it up here with a big win over the Arizona Cardinals. And for the Cardinals, just once again, another week, shooting themselves in the foot. Had too many penalties, missed 2 field goals and an extra point, and just overall, just horrid. A bad loss there by the Arizona Cardinals. We also touched up a little bit on the Giants-Eagles. Eagles, big win there. Gets them one step closer to the 7th seed in the NFC and just keeps their playoff hopes alive. This loss right here just further solidifies the Giants' putrid season and further ensures that they are one step closer to being eliminated from the playoffs. Rams-Vikings, big win by the LA Rams. With that win, they advanced to 11-4 and second in the NFC due to their win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 3. They hold a tiebreaker over Tampa, and I believe they have the better record conference-wise over the Dallas Cowboys, who are well on their way to being 11-4, especially after this dominating first half versus the Washington football team. And then another game that occurred, the Buffalo Bills versus the New England Patriots. The Bills, a nice bounce-back win here over the New England Patriots. Obviously, we know last time when they versed each other, the Patriots ran the ball 47 times, only passed it 3, finding a way to win. I believe it was 14 to maybe 10. Very close game there. But this week, Buffalo gets their revenge. revenge. Josh Allen was dominant that game, winning 33-21. And for the Pats, back-to-back heartbreaking losses, having a chance to take control of the AFC East. And you failed to take control of the AFC East. You even had the number 1 seed. And now you go from the 1 seed all the way down to 6. And you're definitely battling here. And now you got a lot of pressure. I mean, you got Jacksonville next week, which should be an easy win, but any given Sunday. But then you got those red-hot Miami Dolphins. It's right on your tail, Week 18 in Miami. Could be a game to where that could decide who makes the playoffs. I mean, a lot of people are forgetting about that. You know, the Dolphins are red hot. Depending on the outcome against the Saints tomorrow, we could very well be looking at that Week 18 game between the Pats and the Dolphins and say that could very well decide who gets the 7th seed in the AFC wildcard playoffs. And then between the Buccaneers and the Panthers, just a complete one-sided game, just complete dominance by the Buccaneers. They clinched their first NFC South title for the first time since 2007. And for the Panthers, the struggles just continue ever since they started out 3-0. They have lost 10 in the last 12 games. They've gone through QB. They've just gone through a lot of QBs. You had Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold gets hurt. You then had PJ Walker for a little bit. He gets hurt. Even you saw Cam Newton. He said, I'm back. And he's back to sucking, being terrible. And just overall, just straight disaster by the Carolina Panthers. I mean, something's got to change for Carolina, whether that's the head coach. I mean, they just need a new quarterback. You know, if Carolina better land Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson in the offseason, or else it's going to be a disaster for Carolina, and they're going to have yet another failed season. And also, so CMC basically made out of glass. Then we got the Jets and the Jaguars, 2 terrible teams facing off, basically as what you would classify as the Tank Bowl. And the Jets found a way to get a win, 26-21 over the Jaguars. The Jaguars, as of where they are sitting today, currently hold the highest odds to get the number 1 overall pick. In fact, if you look at the 2022 draft, 2022 NFL draft order, which I will tell you right now what that looks like. And that order right now, what it looks like is currently Jacksonville is the first pick. And then you got the Lions 2, Texans 3, Jets 4, Giants 5. You got the Seahawks 6. You got the Jets at 7 holding the Seahawks pick. You got the Giants at 8 holding the Bears pick. You got Washington 9, Atlanta 10, and that's just your top 10. And then the rest, you got Denver 11, Minnesota 12, Cleveland 13. The Eagles, who hold the Dolphins pick, are now at 14. You got the Saints 15, Steelers 16, Chargers 17, Vegas 18. The Eagles currently 19, Baltimore 20, the Dolphins 21, currently holding the 49ers pick. You got the Patriots holding 22, and the Eagles holding the Colts pick, currently 23, Cardinals 24. You then got Buffalo, you got Cincinnati, you got Dallas, Tampa, you got Tennessee, you got the Lions holding the Rams pick, and then you got Chiefs and Packers around the first round. That is if the draft happened today. So because the Jets decided to get a win, they now go from potentially on the number 1 pick to number 4. And then Lions, Falcons getting a nice win over the Detroit Lions. Falcons surprisingly still in the playoff hunt in the NFC. So we'll see if they can find a way to get in. It's a long shot for them, but still a possibility. The Lions 2-12-1. I predicted the Detroit Lions only winning 2 games this year, and boy, have they so far lived up to that mantra. I was not sold on the Lions at all this year, and so far they've lived up to that. Straight up disappointment. And then one of the biggest shockers of all, the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans somehow got a 41-29 win over the Los Angeles Chargers, and that is the worst loss I have ever seen. by the Los Angeles Chargers. Talk about a meltdown of a loss. That is a meltdown of a loss right there. And that's just disappointing by the Chargers. I highlighted it earlier. I said the Chargers are basically a one-and-done kind of team. They blew it against the Chiefs, like I mentioned earlier, then they blew it here against the Texans. If the Chargers would have won this game against the Texans, they would have been in complete control of their own destiny. They would have potentially held the 6th seed, potentially the 7th seed. Now they're on the outside looking in. And you look at you basically division rivals your last 2 games. You got Denver and you got Vegas. It's going to be tough, but just embarrassing by the Los Angeles Chargers. Good win by the Texans. No matter how bad of a team you are, you still see guys playing with heart. And that's simply what you saw out there. And then the Bengals and the Ravens, just straight dominance by the Cincinnati Bengals. And Joe Burrow, boy, he looked phenomenal. Having over 500 passing yards, getting some touchdowns, whether it's to T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. It was a dominating performance by the Cincinnati Bengals. And to be quite frank with you, that looked like the ceiling of a division right there. That truly looked like it. Now, I know I'm on the record of saying that I think Pittsburgh could go on a run to possibly win the division, but after that game by Cincinnati, man, after that game that I saw from Cincinnati, just how dominant they were, it looks like the AFC North is sooner rather than later going to be clinched by the Cincinnati Bengals because they just put on a clinic. Now, for the Ravens, they tried everything they could. They didn't have Lamar Jackson due to his injury. Couldn't have Tyler Huntley due to him testing positive for COVID. You had to throw out Josh Johnson. He did everything he could. Cincinnati was just the more healthier team, and they got it done. Now you got the Bears and the Seahawks, and Nick Foles did it again. Nick Foles' magic struck. The Bears found a way to beat the Seattle Seahawks, and both teams have been terrible. The Seahawks have been terrible due to Russ getting hurt, and just their overall team formula has just been terrible. Somebody had to win. We had snow in Seattle. The Bears found a way to get it win, found a way to get it done. Now, instead of potentially having the 7th pick in the draft, they now give the Giants the 8th pick. And then we got Chiefs and Steelers. That was just a flat-out dominant win by the Chiefs. Clearly one-sided. The Chiefs are proving that they are the team to beat in the AFC. I think after this game just further solidified it. They have now won 8 consecutive games. They were 3-4, and they have just been on a roll. One of the scariest teams to face, to be quite frank with you, as they are right on track. Their defense is back. Their offense is clicking. Even without Travis Kelce, they still score 36 points. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back in full effect. This Chiefs team is just completely dominating in the AFC, and they further solidified clinching the division in the AFC West for the 6th consecutive year. And then we got the Broncos versus the Raiders. It was the last game that happened week 16 before the Sunday night game. Raiders getting a nice win, 17-13, still keeping their playoff hopes alive. The Raiders still hanging around, and you look at the Denver Broncos, that could very well be the nail in the coffin. And you got to play the Chargers. You got to play the Chargers next week after they got embarrassed by Houston. They're probably going to light it up, blaze of glory there for Justin Herbert. This Broncos team is finished. They were finished once Bridgewater went down. Drew Lock just isn't the answer. And, the QB situation can be very interesting. They got to throw their name in the hat, whether it's potentially for Aaron Rodgers, whether that's for Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson. You got to throw your name out in the hat if you're Denver. And we'll just see what happens there. But that has been your recap all of Week 16, my personal thoughts on the games, as we are just about nearing underway here in the second half between the Washington football team and the Dallas Cowboys, which has been completely one-sided with the Cowboys. Just complete and utter domination. Let me just share the screen here. That's for those of you on Colorcast, and for those of you just overall tuning in for via StreamYard. We have Washington getting the ball here down at their own 25-yard line as the ball was kicking to the end zone for a touchback. And let's see what we got in store here for Washington. We'll see if they can bounce back from this putrid performance of a second half. And we got Taylor Heineke here in shotgun formation, handing it off to the running back, and he is stopped for no gain. As it is now 2nd down and 10. Antonio Gibson just flat out stopped right there. Stop right there. We'll see what happens the rest here. And as we look at here, 2nd down and 10 for Taylor Heineke and the Washington football team. We got Gibson going into motion. Play clock down to 5. We got Heineke back to pass, looking, throwing, and it is incomplete. It is 3rd down and 10 here for the Dallas Cowboys, which has been clearly a lopsided, one-sided affair here for this game. And boy, Washington, the Cowboys defense had one plan only, to stop Terry McLaurin, and they have simply done just that. As Terry McLaurin, you look at no catches, no receptions at all, just completely been shut down the entire game. Heineke looking, throwing, and that is incomplete, and it was just a terrible throw by Heineke. It is 4th down and 10. And it is yet another 3 and out. And the Dallas Cowboys set to receive yet another punt. And as you look at here, less than a minute into the 3rd quarter, and Washington already sent a punt, something that you don't want to see happen here if you're a team trying to get momentum back into this game. They punted away, and they just let it roll. Takes a nice Washington bounce as Dallas is set up down at their own 22-yard line. And as we head to commercial break, I will give you guys my fantasy football updates. I'm in 9 fantasy football leagues. I'm in the playoffs in 7 out of the 9, and we will see how I am matching up currently. Currently in the Unwrapped Sports Network Redraft League, I am completely losing. I will finish 6th place. For my matchup, I went up against Mr. John Creveling, and it did not work out well for me. He had some players who lit it up for him. Amon-Ra St. Brown did good for him. Odell Beckham Jr. did good for him. Antonio Brown did well. And, of course, he has Dak Prescott, who, as we are witnessing right now, is putting on a clinic. My team did not do so well. Matt Stafford was terrible against Minnesota, throwing 3 picks. Keenan Allen didn't do good against the Texans. And just basically Derek Carr underselling. And just overall flat-out disappointments. I will finish 6th in the Unwrapped Redraft League, but a definite improvement of last year because I missed the playoffs last year. This year, made it, bounced in the 1st round, but will finish as a 6th seed. Now, in my own league that I'm in, that I'm a commissioner of, the Ultimate Fantasy Football League, I am looking to be in the championship game. I've won 4 straight, made it as a 5th seed, won my first matchup. Ugly, but got it done. And I'm well on my way to going to the championship game to face none other than possibly my co-host Ben Hoyt in the championship round. And how fitting would that be in my own fantasy league? In the VIP Patreon league, which you'll get access to if you pitch in $5 I am currently ahead 132.84 to 128.32, but he does have Antonio Gibson, and currently he is putting up some good points for him. He is right on my tail, Mr. Kevin, who is also a member of the Untitled Sports Network. So hopefully Antonio Gibson stops what he is doing, because if Gibson gets another touchdown, I will be eliminated in round number 2. So hopefully that does not occur. In another fantasy league that I am in, I am currently in the championship round, but it is a 2-week round. I'm currently trailing in the first week, but there's a whole nother week of football to occur in week 17. So hopefully I could bounce back from that. Same thing here in yet another fantasy league that I'm in. Ezekiel Elliott doing good things for me. I am looking to try and get 5th place. It is a 2-week matchup, and we are in the final week here, week 16. And I look to be placing 5th place. And in the Unwrapped Dynasty League, I am not in a good position at all. I mean, he's got Dalton Schultz. He's got CeeDee Lamb. Dalton Schultz has given him, 16 points. Dak Prescott's doing good things for him, and CeeDee Lamb doing his thing as well. He's got all 3 members of the Dallas Cowboys. He looks to have beaten me, Mr. Robert Swan, as I will most likely be finishing probably 7th or 8th place in my first year in the Unwrapped Dynasty League. And then I got my 2 other ones in the ESPN Fantasy. I am well on my way to making it to the championship round in the NFL Deep Dive. And in my Good Friends League, I have to overcome 43 points between 2 players of Devontae Parker and the Dolphins defensive special teams, which is not a good matchup. Clearly, I was hindered with injuries. I had no Lamar Jackson. James Robinson obviously got hurt. Dalvin Cook was out. Just straight up disaster for me. I was faltering going into the playoffs, and I continue to falter now. Definitely a disappointment there. And in the Yahoo Fantasy League that I'm in, I luckily started Joe Burrow, who gave me 100 points. Thank you for that, Mr. Joe Burrow. And I am currently well on my way to finishing off what has been a disappointing season at 7-9. Just a flat disappointment. I had a lot of injuries, and just that season just didn't work out for me as a whole. And we will see, just simply what happens there. And obviously, I'm just dominating the 12th seed, the worst player on the team. And while we are on commercial break here, once again, 42-7 Dallas lead, and that is my fantasy football update. Made the playoffs in 7 out of 9, and I look to be bounced out of the first round a couple of those. And yeah, we'll see what happens there. We'll see if the score can get better, and just overall, we'll see if Washington can get just any sort of momentum, because right now it is just been clearly one-sided, and just clearly one-sided. Now, as we're on commercial break, I will be indulging in some Starburst. Hands down, best flavor of Starburst, got to be the pinks. Hands down, best flavor. Now, we'll say an underrated Starburst flavor, yellow, the lemon. Definitely an underrated flavor. And delicious. Well, that's what happens when you have a blowout kind of a game. You get to hear what I think about different Starbursts. And as we look at here, we are currently still on commercial break for this game. Totally, completely one-sided overall. We're all in And I think right here, this is just pretty much the nail in the coffin here for Washington. Washington just, you can pretty much book their season to the gutter. They'll probably be well on the way to being eliminated from the playoffs. You look at 1st and 10 here for the Washington football team. They're down at their own 37-yard line. Heineke play action, looking, throwing. It is caught, but at what cost? Loss of about 4 yards. The clock continues to run. And just been overall just a disaster. Just the worst case scenario for Washington has occurred. Just getting obliteratedly blown out. And let's see if they could even cut into any of it, because this looks like a blowout. 2nd and 14 here for Heineke, looking just to hand it off. And an off to Jared Patterson. Jared Patterson here gains 8 yards. 3rd down and 6 here for the Washington football team as they find themselves down at their own 41-yard line. And we got a 3rd and 6 here once again. We'll see if Washington can try and get Terry McLaurin involved. He's been pretty much shut down by Trayvon Diggs all game. We'll see if Heineke can maybe break one open for Terry McLaurin. Play clock down to 3. They just get it underway. Heineke looking to pass, and it is incomplete. Pass behind Adam Humphries. 4th and 6, and Washington yet again is set to punt it away. As this Cowboys defense has been just dominating Washington, and the Cowboys offense just dominating Washington's defense. And it has been simply one-sided affair. As we look at here, the ball roll, and it takes a nice Washington bounce all the way down to about the 5-yard line as Dallas once again is set to take the ball offensively. Just a beautiful punt as that punt almost hits the Jumbotron at AT&T Stadium, one of the biggest Jumbotrons in the world. As we look at it, is down at the 6-yard line here. 1st and 10 for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott still in this game. And we got Dak here doing a play action pass, looking to throw, and it is incomplete. Trying to target to Amari Cooper, and it does not work. The pass was incomplete. And here we got 2nd down and 10 here for the Dallas Cowboys. Boys, we got my great friend here, Ben Hoyt. He looks to be back here. I'm a co-caster for Colorcast. Let me allow him to join in for a hot second. 2nd down and 10. We got Ben Hoyt back here on Colorcast. Go ahead.
I will be back in like 2 minutes. I apologize. I have to finish one backup of business, but then I will be back in like 2 seconds. So,
all right, sounds good.
Tuned. I will be on StreamYard in like 2 minutes.
Thank the Lord, Ben. This game is getting ugly fast. That is Ben Hoyt right there. He will be back in about 2 or so minutes. We got 3rd and 2 here for the Cowboys. Dak looks to do a nice flip pass to Ezekiel Elliott. He gets the first down, runs it to the Dallas Cowboys 20-yard line. It is 1st and 10 for the Dallas Cowboys as their drive continues. As this dominance just continues for the Dallas Cowboys. And once again, I gave my fantasy football update. I'll also, when Ben Hoyt joins in, check up and see how his fantasy football team is doing and just kind of see what kind of update he's got in store as well. As Dak Prescott attempts a deep pass to Amari Cooper and it is incomplete. It is 2nd down and 10 for the Dallas Cowboys. And we have a Chris Collinsworth now here's a guy meme in full effect as he is describing Mike McCarthy's career. Because here is a guy like Dak Prescott, 2nd and 10, handoff to Ezekiel Elliott, nice spin move, gets away from instead of no gain or a loss of yardage, finds a way to gain 3. It is now 3rd down and 7. We got 3rd and 7 here for the Dallas Cowboys as they are down at their own 23-yard line. They're trying to chew up as much clock as they can here. Dak looking to pass, throwing, and overthrown and almost intercepted by the Washington defense. They failed to get the interception. Instead, it is incomplete, but a 3-and-out by the Washington defense. Dallas set to punt it away. Clearly ahead in this game, 42-7. And a nice booming punt as it is now pinned at about the 14, 15-yard line for Washington. We will see what they can do here as an offense. Dallas dominating this game 42-7 with about 8 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. And as we hit yet another commercial break here, let's look forward to some of the Week 17 slate of games because, boy, there are going to be some Week 17 games that I will be looking forward to. In fact, I will pull up some of the Week 17 games that will occur. And even for those people that are still tuning in to this one-sided affair, I'll share the screen in just a second here of the Week 17. You guys can even throw in your games as well that you will be tuning into, whether that's for gambling purposes, whether that's for pick-wise purposes, just overall as a whole. Let me pop up Week 17. And as here we look at for Week 17, here are some of the upcoming games. One of the games I'm for sure going to be looking forward to has to be Dallas versus Arizona. That Week 17 at AT&T Stadium, 3:25 Central Time, 1:25 Pacific, 4:25 Eastern on Fox. That will be one game that I will for sure be looking forward to, because you got the 11-4 Cowboys versus the 10-5 Arizona Cardinals. This game will pretty much decide, who could potentially go far in the playoffs. I mean, if Dallas wins this game, they got the potential to make a deep playoff run. But if Arizona has the potential to win this game, then they could be right back in the division race. They could give fans a good sense of hope and, just optimism. And then obviously, Green Bay versus Minnesota. Minnesota, they're still bound for a playoff spot. But for Green Bay, I'm obviously tuning into that game. Why? Because I'm a fan of that team. And two, we got a good opportunity to clinch a number 1 seed if we take care of business. So it's another game that some fans will be tuning into. Rams versus Ravens. That could be a good game as well that a lot of people could tune into because you got a lot of playoff implications. Ravens are fighting for their lives. Rams are fighting to try and stay atop the NFC West. Same thing with Denver. And another game, Chiefs and Bengals. That's going to be a fun game to watch there. At Paul Brown, you got the Bengals looking to try to clinch the AFC North. Chiefs completely dominated the entire AFC. Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes. That's going to be a great matchup that a lot of people will tune into. Even potentially a dark horse too, Raiders and Colts. I mean, could you imagine if the Raiders pull off the upset versus the Indianapolis Colts? They're going to be right there at 9-7 and be right straight in the thick of the playoff race. And that would be something. Same thing with Tennessee versus the Dolphins. The Dolphins, if they could beat the New Orleans Saints, be right in the playoff hunt. If they could upset the Titans, that would be quite a story to tell. And then, of course, Eagles versus the Washington football team on Sunday. Going to be an interesting affair there, battling for a playoff spot. Obviously, we know Washington is going to fall to 6-8, barring, 6-9, which will definitely not help their playoff chances as they are getting slimmer and slimmer as the weeks go on. Those will be some of the Week 17 games I will be very well looking forward to. I will put back on the screen here of the Washington football team, Dallas Cowboys. So far, update. It is second down at about 18 here, down at the 7. Heineke was sacked. They're looking to see if the ball was out before he hit the floor. Hit the ground. They said that he did not fumble it. So it's just second down and 18 and a sack. Sack has occurred. Here's second down and a long 18 here for the Washington football team. Got Heineke looking to hand it off, and it goes maybe about 3, maybe 4 yards, but not a lot. Not a lot of progress there that occurred that play. And we got here about to add on Ben Hoyt to the Colorcast audience. I will put them on the mic here to join in for the co-cast role.
And help out the Unwrapped Sports family as well.
Absolutely. So we will have Ben just on the regular Colorcast. And Ben, this has been a clear one-sided affair, just a complete domination by the Dallas Cowboys.
I've been getting updates throughout the other stuff I was doing, and I couldn't be happier. I mean, Dallas blowing out Washington. Washington looks like a really bad offensive team. Just telling you that right now. So if we put points on the board against Washington, we should be smooth sailing into the playoffs.
And smooth sailing to the playoffs. The Dallas Cowboys just blocked the punt by the Washington football team. Things just keep on getting worse and worse for the Washington football team. Interceptions, allowing touchdowns, just an utter complete disaster, just a complete one-sided affair for the Dallas Cowboys. And this has been quite a blowout. And what a spectrum we have had, Ben, the last 2 weeks of Sunday Night Football. Last Sunday Night Football, we didn't get a single touchdown. We had 3 field goals. And this week, we have 8 touchdowns. But 7 of them have been for one team and only 1 for the other.
Yeah, not the most even game. I've seen my fair share of these games as well, working at the high school scene as well. But, those games are never fun. You want to see a close game, no matter who plays. So I feel bad for the Washington football team, but not really, because I want my team in the playoffs. But, it should be interesting how Washington acts going into next week against the Eagles. They may be more vengeful than anything, so I would watch out.
Definitely have to watch out. Ben, during one of the commercial breaks, I gave my fantasy football update. In 9 of my fantasy leagues, Ben, I made the playoffs in 7 of them. I got bounced in the first round in a couple of them. I'm in the championship round in some of them. I know for sure, Ben, for the Ultimate Fantasy Football League, it seems to be you and I may face off in the championship week next week. So it's gonna
doing well, huh?
Well, yeah, you look to be on your way to going to the championship game. I am dominating. In fact, it says I have a 100% win over Michael Lawson. I have 128.98. He only has 116.30. I'm just hoping Terry McLaurin gets some points, which will most likely not happen. And Ben, you are currently beating Josh Linares 99.08 to 83.50. You once again get lucky because you didn't have Dalvin Cook or James Conner, but Cooper Kupp decided to give you 21 points. DK Metcalf decided to give you 12. And your guy, Amari Cooper, 7 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown, giving you a nice 21 fantasy points.
Yeah, well, there was no other option but to at least miss one running back. It wouldn't have helped with the other running backs because I had Naheem Hines. He only got me 2.5, which is not quite enough. It wouldn't have changed much anyway. So, you know what? Rough night for my team for the Ultimate Fantasy League. By the way, the Money Fantasy League, I may be last place this year. My team is falling. So we're gonna have to step up next week to make sure that doesn't happen. Just chip over at 20.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry I let you down, Ben. I went up against John Creveling, and he completely dominated me. He had Dak Prescott. I was in a little bit of a slump, but him having Joe Mixon giving him 31 points didn't help, and Dak Prescott just dominating didn't help. I am going to finish in 6th place, which for me was a much big improvement. Last year I missed the playoffs. This year, make it. Got bounced by Jimmy in the first round, and now I'm about to play 6th place.
Yeah, I'm wondering who had Joe Burrow in our league. Oh, never mind. I found it.
Oh, did you go up against Joe Burrow?
No. I'm trying to figure out who did have Joe Burrow.
Oh, let's find out here. Go Joe and then Burrow. Oh, Mr. Josh Linares had Joe Burrow, giving him a nice 38 points.
In our league?
Yep.
The one I'm playing right now.
Oh, I'm talking the redraft.
Oh, no. No, in our league.
Oh, here, let me do that. Oh, you know, Ben, I picked up Joe Burrow in my Yahoo Fantasy League. He gave me 100 points. Mr. Sam Daring had Joe Burrow.
Gotcha. Yeah, 38.10. That's pretty good. By the way, I was just doing a playoff prediction episode, and we figured out the 2 teams the Eagles can theoretically play.
Who were the 2 teams?
So, a likely scenario is that they can either play Tampa Bay on the road, or that's if the Eagles beat Dallas and, things go their way. But if things go their way and Dallas wins, you have to go to Jerry World next week.
That'll be now. What'll be interesting, Ben, is how the Rams finish, because currently the Rams hold the 2 seed. If the Rams, because you got to think Rams hold the tiebreaker over Tampa, because remember they beat Tampa in week 3. So if the Rams still finish 13-4 and Tampa finishes 13-4, you might got to play the Ramilies at SoFi, maybe.
That may be true. What I did figure out though is that the Packers also control their own destiny, like the Eagles. Packers went out, or at least up to when the Eagles play the Cowboys. There is no way for the Cowboys to catch the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, I think
isn't it? I'm sorry to interrupt. Isn't it the scenario like for Green Bay to clinch the 1 seed? Don't they simply have to happen is if they beat Minnesota next week, and either the Rams or Tampa lose, we clinch the 1 seed.
I think it's even more simpler than that, but it's like what you're saying is definitely.
Well, you know what? You know what? I think it's just a win and a Tampa loss because we got the tiebreaker over the Rams and we got the tiebreaker over Arizona. And if Dallas can't catch us, I think it might be a simple win and a Tampa loss, and we might have ourselves a 1 seed. But it probably won't happen because Tampa's got like easy opponents.
Yeah, no, and I think you're correct. If Green Bay beats Minnesota, I don't think there's any reason for Dallas to play their starters. Because either you're playing some team, at home in the playoffs, or if you win, you're playing the Eagles again. So, I mean, do you want to play the Eagles 2 weeks in a row? No. So, why don't you just let the Eagles take the free win, let them take their playoff spot, and have them play the Bucs?
And hey, you also have to consider like the one team above you, the 49ers, who's a 6th seed. Niners got to play the Rams again. I know the old saying is Shanahan does have McVay's number, but the Rams with the momentum that they're going, they're going to give it the ham to San Fran because they want that NFC West title. I truly believe, like I've always stated that if the Rams get a home game, that is their chance to go far. The Rams are currently in 2nd right now. If they could find a way to win out, if they could beat Baltimore next week, and if they could beat San Fran, they could very well be a 2 seed, and they could be in a very, very comfortable position.
By the way, it's super funny. We were just playing with the playoff tool and stuff like that, and we were playing, what would happen if X won this game? Like if the Broncos beat the Chargers.
Have you? I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you ever go onto like the NFL Playoff Predictor.com?
Yeah, that's what we were doing.
Awesome. Yeah, I might hop on that right now. You know what? That's what I might do for the people of StreamYard, just to give a nice little playoff prediction because it's pretty much Cowboys leading 49-7.
I'm going to do that right now as well.
Yeah. Now what's funny is way before the season, it was hilarious the kind of predictions that I had. I somehow had Tampa like 15-2. I had it like Pals in the Super Bowl. It was wild. It was wild times.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm trying to find the site.
All times, and let's see if it updates here the current playoff picture, because what I did was I tried to input in my picks to see how it would look, and there were some quite interesting stuff. Now currently, I already showed the viewers earlier where the standings go, but let me put in just to see, just in case, if Dallas looks to be well on their way to beating the Washington football team. So let me just switch sharing here. Let me go to NFL Playoff Predictor because I'm pretty sure it would not hurt one bit. Let me go under here. Let me go to the nice old Microsoft Edge tab. So Dallas looks to be well on their way. They already clinched the NFC East. So the NFC East division is already clinched, and they're 5-0. Now, I will say what's interesting, though, is that Miami-New Orleans game. That's going to be very interesting because if New Orleans wins, they're the 8th seed right behind Philadelphia, and Miami falls all the way down to 11. But if Miami can pull off the win over the Saints fall down to 10, and Miami will be right in the playoffs as the 7th seed. So we're looking at a situation of if Miami wins, they hold the 7th seed and control their own destiny. And you look at next week, what will occur next week. Now, obviously, there will be probably no more Thursday night games because week 17, the games start on Sunday, Monday, and most likely will be the same thing for week 18, Sunday, Monday. So, with that being stated, I mean, you could give your own picks for week 17 and week 18. I'll kind of give mine. I feel like.
Yeah, so let me start here. So I'm just finishing up all this, and then I will state the games right now. Okay, so if the Bills beat the Falcons, the Bears beat the Giants, the Chiefs beat the Bengals, the Colts beat the Raiders, the Patriots beat the Jags, Saints beat the Panthers, Bucks beat the Jets, Titans beat the Dolphins, Eagles beat the football team, Chargers beat the Broncos, Niners beating the Texans, Cowboys beating the Cardinals beating the Cowboys, Rams beating the Ravens, and then Seahawks beating Lions, Packers beating Vikings, Browns beating Steelers. Here's how it's shape up on the AFC side.
Let's hear it.
Your 1 seed is still Kansas City. Your 7th seed is the LA Chargers. 2nd seed, the Tennessee Titans. 6th seed, New England Patriots. 3rd seed, Buffalo. 5th seed, Indy. And 4th seed, Cincinnati. Now, on the NFC side, it's a little more interesting. So, 1st seed is Green Bay. Your 2nd seed is LA playing the Eagles. Your 6th seed is San Francisco playing Tampa Bay. Your 5th seed is Arizona at Dallas.
I have almost that same scenario. So the games that I predicted for week 17, I got KC over Cincy. I would love to see Cincinnati win, but I think Kansas City is too good right now. They will still stay at the number 1 seed. The number 2 seed would still be the Tennessee Titans in my book. 3 would still be Buffalo in my book. I would have Cincinnati stay at the 4. Buffalo for me Indy would be 5. Patriots would be 6 for me. And the LA Chargers would be the 7 seed for me. And the rest of it rounding it out would be Miami would be hanging on. Pittsburgh actually for me would be just the 8 seed because I personally think Pittsburgh is going to beat Cleveland. I'm not sold on Cleveland at all. Something is wrong with Baker Mayfield, whether that's just injury that he's trying to play through or just bad mechanics. Something is wrong with Baker Mayfield. And then, just overall as a whole, Rams and Ravens, that's one of the games I'm going to be looking forward to. I think the Rams are just a better team. I think the Rams are going to look at this opportunity and say, hey, look, if we win this game, we might win the NFC West. So let's take advantage of it. And then on top of that, Dallas versus Arizona. Arizona is just terrible. And then looking at the Cowboys right now, through 3 quarters, just dominating 49-7. This Dallas team looked like it has the opportunity this year. And then obviously Seattle over Detroit. I think that's a no-brainer. Even though Seattle got embarrassed by Chicago, I don't think they'll fall to the 13-1 Lions. And then, of course, you already know I got to go with the Packers over the Vikings. My NFC side of things would be Green Bay still stays at 1. Dallas would be at 2. The Rams would shockingly be at 3. We would then have Buccaneers at 4. The Cardinals would be 5. The 49ers would be 6. And your Philadelphia Eagles, Ben, would be 7th. To round it out. And the final slate, week 18. Let me hear what you got, Ben.
All right, so remember, this is taking into account that everybody plays. I'm not going to be focusing on who sits who does whatever. We can go into that in a minute. So considering everybody plays, you have the Falcons beating the Saints. You have the Ravens beating the Steelers. Bills beating the Jets. Bengals beating Browns, Packers beating Lions, Titans beating Texans, Colts beating Jaguars, Pats beating Dolphins, Vikings beating Bears, football team beating Giants, Eagles beating Cowboys, Bucks beating Panthers, Cardinals beating Seahawks, Chiefs beating Broncos, Rams beating Niners, and Chargers beating the Raiders. All right, on the AFC side, nothing changes. Kansas City would lock the 1. Tennessee would have the 2. They would play Los Angeles. Now, Buffalo would be the 3, play New England again. And then Cincinnati would be playing Indianapolis. All right. Now, on the NFC side, either way, the Packers would be the 1. The Rams would be the 2. San Francisco would be the 7. playing them. Third seed would be Tampa Bay playing the Eagles as a 6, and then Arizona as a 5 playing at Dallas. Now, hold on, but before we get into that, if I switch the Rams and the Niners, say the Rams lose the Niners that week, it does nothing to the actually, it does a lot to the matchups. So Niners would be a 7 seed, Tampa Bay would be a 2, and then the Eagles would go to SoFi to play Los Angeles Rams. That would be a good one too. If you flip even just the slightest teams around, it changes everything.
I was gonna say yours is interesting because how mine is set up. Because I think Buffalo will beat the Jets. I think Cincy will beat Cleveland. I think New England will beat Miami. Indy over Jacksonville. I'm going Baltimore over Pittsburgh. I mean, I just don't know. You know what? Screw it. Jeez. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what this Pittsburgh Baltimore matchup. I think just because of that home, I'm going with the Ravens. Just because of that home, and I truly think Week 17, Week 18, we're going to see Lamar Jackson. I truly believe that. I think the final 2 weeks, the Ravens are going to throw out Lamar Jackson just as a last-ditch effort to try and make the postseason. We'll see what happens there. I got Tennessee over Houston. I think that's a no-brainer. I got KC over Denver, no-brainer. I got the Chargers over the Vegas Raiders. I think that's a no-brainer. I trust Justin Herbert and the Chargers more than I do the Las Vegas Raiders. But the craziest thing is, Ben, if you were to flip between the Raiders and the Chargers, if the Raiders were to upset the Chargers, Baltimore would get in and the Chargers would miss out. But if the Chargers take care of business over Las Vegas, the Chargers would get in and the Ravens would miss. So definitely going to be very important there.
Yeah, I just flipped it a little bit, and I flipped the Niners and the Rams game. And how it would shape out, actually, would be Philadelphia would go down to the 7 at 10-7. Tampa Bay would be the 2. So that matchup doesn't change. Then we take a look at the 4 and 5 matchups. Those do change. So the 6th seed San Francisco goes to Arizona, and then the 5th seed Los Angeles goes to Dallas. Now, let me take a look at another thing real quick. If I click Dallas, does it change anything? No, it does not. It does not change anything. Philly would still be the 7 playing Tampa Bay, and then San Francisco playing Arizona, Los Angeles playing Dallas. So there would be nothing to play for Dallas because you're probably still being a 4 seed.
Absolutely 100% there. Yeah, I'm sticking with my Week 17. I'm sticking with Buffalo over Atlanta, Bears over Giants. I'm going Chiefs over Bengals. I'm going Cowboys over Cardinals. I'm going Tennessee over Miami. I'm going Indy over Vegas. New England over Jacksonville. New Orleans over Carolina. Tampa over the Jets. Philly over Washington. That's a no-brainer right there. Chargers over Denver. I'm going San Fran over Houston. Seattle over Detroit. Rams over Ravens. Packers over Vikings, which are a lot of favorites. All of them are currently favorites. But the one upset I'm going with is Pittsburgh over Cleveland. Just because final home game for Ben Roethlisberger ever at Heinz Field, I think they're going to close it out. It's Monday. Just think of this, Ben. It's Monday Night Football. It's Big Ben's final game at Heinz. They're going to go out on top. They have to. It's right there. You know what I mean? Like Ben Roethlisberger's final game at Heinz Field has to come away with the W. There's just no other option. No other option there. And then for Week 18 slate, I kind of have it all set in stone here. I'm going Buffalo over the Jets. Give me Cincy over Cleveland. Give me New England over Miami. I know New England struggles in Miami, but this New England team is different. I think Indy's taking care of business against Jacksonville. I do think, though, Baltimore will beat Pittsburgh. I truly believe that. I think the Steelers are going to use everything they have in their final game at Heinz Field, and they're just not going to show up. Here, let me just make my picks for Week 18 really quickly, just so I can get that out of the way here. Bam, bam. 1 second. Stand by here. Bam, 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 and Arizona. Okay, so for my Week 18 picks as well, Buffalo, Cincinnati, New England, Indy, Baltimore. Give me Tennessee over Houston. Give me the Chiefs over the Broncos. Give me Chargers over Raiders. Now, I will say it is in Las Vegas, so it'll be interesting how that will shape. But this is the chart. But I will say this is the Chargers. They do find a way to lose. But I think it'll be different. I think Herbert will be changed after the embarrassment against Houston, and he's just going to have a 2-game scorch trail. And then, of course, Tampa over Carolina. I'm sorry, Ben, but I'm going Dallas over Philly. I think Dallas is going to look at this situation and just say, even though we clinched the division, we want to try to get a top 3 seed in the NFC. I think they're going to do that. I think New Orleans will beat Atlanta. I think Washington will beat New York, the Giants, that is. I think Green Bay will beat Detroit handedly. I also think Minnesota will beat Chicago. I think Arizona will beat the Seahawks. And I think the Rams will beat the 49ers. And you ready to hear what my NFC playoff picture is, Ben, because of this?
I do.
So because of this, for the AFC, I'll start AFC first, and then go to the NFC. For the AFC, 1 is the Chiefs. 2 is the Titans. 3 is the Bills. 4 is the Bengals. 5 is the Indianapolis Colts. 6 is the New England Patriots. And the 7th seed for me is the Los Angeles Chargers. That is my playoff picture 1 through 7.
Yep, we have that to a T.
Now in the NFC, this is where it gets interesting. I got my Green Bay Packers as the number 1 seed, the Dallas Cowboys as the number 2 seed, the Los Angeles Rams as the 3rd seed, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as the 4th seed, the Arizona Cardinals as the 5th seed, EAGLES, Eagles as the 6th seed, and because of a tiebreaker, the New Orleans Saints will be the 7th seed, not the San Francisco 49ers. That is my 1 through 7. Wouldn't that be interesting in the playoffs?
Wait, who do you have the Eagles playing? Do you have them playing the Rams?
Yes, the 6th seed Eagles would travel to SoFi Stadium to play the Los Angeles Rams. The 5 seed Cardinals would travel to Tampa to play the Buccaneers. And the 7th seed New Orleans Saints would play the Dallas Cowboys. And then in the AFC, it would be Indy traveling to Cincinnati, New England versus Buffalo, Part 3, and then you got the LA Chargers traveling to Tennessee to play the Tennessee Titans. And boy, that would.
We have the same AFC stuff, but what I was going to say is, we have AFC identical. I'm trying to figure out how you got Los Angeles. Interesting.
Well, I have it under playoffpredictors.com. I'm not sure if each website is different, but I just went under playoffpredictors.com, and that's what it popped up with my picks. Now our picks are totally different, but with the picks that I came up with, that NFC is going to be very interesting. Like, could you imagine? Like, can you imagine these NFC playoff matchups, Ben? The young Kyler Murray versus the GOAT Tom Brady, young Jalen Hurts versus veteran Matthew Stafford, and then Taysom Hill versus Dak Prescott, just in the NFC alone. And then the AFC, you're just filled with youth. You got Carson Wentz versus Joe Burrow. You got Mac Jones, the rookie, versus Josh Allen. And then you got Justin Herbert versus Ryan Tannehill with the potential of King Henry, maybe?
I will say, with all the scenarios that we've done, there is not one scenario where if the Eagles win next week or the week after, that they miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I will say, but Philly does control their own destiny, which is good. It's good that you're in the spots where you control your own destiny. I think the best spot to be in when you're towards the end of the season is when you control your own destiny. For example, like when you're the Green Bay Packers or your team, the Philadelphia Eagles, if you can control your own destiny, that's just beauty. That's just a dream come true, because that's when you're just like, okay, you know what? Now it's on us. Now we just got to do our job and we'll be fine. We don't have to rely on other teams. Like teams like the Dolphins, teams like the Chargers, teams like the Ravens, they got to rely on others. They got to say, okay, a couple dominoes are going to have to fall for it to go our way. But when you control your own destiny, now you're in a situation where like, okay, you know what? Just win. Just win, and you are in. We got Jimmy here in the YouTube comment section is back. He says, I'm back. Catch me up starting in the second quarter. He says Arizona definitely a one and done if they draw Tampa Bay. That is a fact. I think somehow I could definitely get behind with what you're saying there, Jimmy. I think if Tampa Bay does, and then anyhow Philly makes it in, yes, I think Philly has potentially the best spot to make the playoffs. I mean, Ben, you may be on color cast, but you've definitely made your case. For Philadelphia, Ben, it's just simple. If they could find a way to win against Washington next week, they control their destiny and they might be in. You know, we might have a scenario to where if Philly wins, they're in.
It's a simple thing. It's just, you remember from the Rocky movies, woman's laying in her bed, Rocky's girlfriend. You promised to do one thing for me, and that thing is win. That's all you need to do. Win. You got to beat the Washington football team, who, by the way, is losing 56-7 with 11:09 left to go. Kind of dog water. I mean, you just got to beat them. And then, literally, if Dallas doesn't think they can have all their starters in, you just got to beat them as well.
Mm-hmm. But I will say, here's what I will say. If somehow Philly chokes against Washington, that panic button's going through the roof because then you got to play Dallas week 18. That's gonna be tough if that happens. If you which I can't believe I X'd out of my playoff predictor screen. That was a terrible decision here. Let me re-pull that back up in case if the worst case scenario somehow, some way happens. Let's say if somehow, some way Philadelphia loses week 17 to Washington. Oh, that's brutal, Ben. You don't want to lose. Because if you lose against Washington and you lose against Dallas, you go from the 6th seed to missing the playoffs. Never mind, you don't want to lose. You want to win and you're in.
No, that's all you need to do is win. You control your own self. By the way, Washington's offense is depleted. Do I think Taylor Heineke's good? No, he's not. I mean, he's basically not even a better version of what Case Keenum was and then just fell off. He had that one good, half of a year good playoff game, and now he's looking like shit. I mean,
boom. Tell him, Ben.
We
from the top rope.
Destiny in our own hands against bad quarterbacks. Literally, we had to play Garrett Gilbert. Then we have to play Jake Fromm. Now you're going to play a tougher quarterback who's still kind of dog. Like, just go ahead and win. Please.
Yeah, no, I will say the only and Ben, you said you were going to be at week 18 versus the Dallas Cowboys. If the Philadelphia Eagles make the playoffs, which they have a high percentage to do so, will you be traveling to any of their road games? Will you be traveling to maybe SoFi Stadium? Will you maybe be traveling to AT&T Stadium? Or will you possibly travel to Raymond James Stadium?
That's a little pricey. And what I would, it would not because of the price. The problem is school. Because I am doing a lot of traveling in the spring and I cannot afford to take many more off days. So, unfortunately, I don't think so, but maybe we could get a late Christmas present. We'll see.
Hey, I will say the only possible outcome where you might have a home game is if the 6th seed and the 7th seed match up in the championship game. That would be your only possibility of a home playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
If you are the 6th seed.
It's a shame that someone not like, as much as I hate New York, if New York was a home playoff team against the Eagles or some weird scenario.
You're there.
Like,
you're there.
Oh, I'm there.
Oh, I know you're there 100%. I know it would probably be the same thing for the Washington football team. Because what, isn't DC like 2 hours from your house?
Exactly.
I know you're there. I know you're there. If you got to play Washington or the Giants, you're there. Like either or.
Yeah.
Like you're there.
But let's think about the travel scenario. So Tampa is a good 3-hour flight, and then Dallas is a good 3.5 hour flight, and then the
then
other one is
the Los
LA,
Angeles.
and that's a good. LA is a good 6 to probably even more than that. Probably
Yeah, you got to travel from coast to coast.
6, 7, 8 hour flight. It's just too much, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to blame you. That's when you just hope and pray, and then you just get on the couch and just see what happens.
I do like my couch though.
The couch can be very comfy.
We have a man cave at our house, which is like a sports bar. It's where I filmed a couple weeks ago. We have a 75-inch TV in that basement. I like watching it off of there.
Mm-hmm. And hey, let's hope your Philadelphia Eagles take care of business.
Absolutely. The only concern is if Dallas doesn't bench their starters. I don't even care about that game. All I need to do is beat Washington, who is a depleted, crappy team.
Yeah, I will say what only sucks for you here's how you can get the 5th seed. You can get the 5th seed if you hold on. No, that's the wrong one. Week 17. Let's see. You can get the 5th seed if you beat Washington next week. And if you can beat Dallas. And if you can beat Dallas and somehow Seattle upsets Arizona, you would be the 5th seed.
Who would we be playing then?
You would be playing the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that was the other scenario I came up with. I wasn't even sure of the seats, but I did see that we could have been playing Dallas.
But that's a big if. That would be an if. That would be if Seattle beats Arizona week 18, and if Philadelphia beats Dallas week 18, you would be the 5th seed. Arizona would be 6th, and Arizona would travel to the Rams instead of Tampa and Dallas. But if you beat Dallas and Seattle beats Arizona, you would travel to Dallas, and Arizona would travel to, I think, the Rams, and I think Tampa would be the 2 seed.
Yeah, I just hope we sweep them. Like, that would be so sweet. First of all, you get to beat Dallas and Washington, which I hate both of them. And 2, we don't have to play Dallas in the playoffs. We can just play, a team like the Rams, which, it's going to be a tall mountain to climb, but they've never seen us before. Or the Bucks, where we played them actually kind of close. I found
out, Ben, Detroit's going to get our full starters. Even if we lose to Detroit, and if Dallas beats Philly, Dallas will be the 1 seed and Green Bay would be the 2 seed. So Green Bay pretty much has to win out and they're the 1 seed. So even if we beat the one scenario for us to clinch the 1 seed is if we beat Minnesota, if Arizona beats Dallas and Dallas beats Philadelphia and we beat Detroit, and say if we lose to Detroit, we would be the 1 seed. And Dallas would be the 4 seed. Rams would be the 2 seed. And Tampa would be the 3 seed. So our only scenario for Green Bay to clinch the 1 seed without having to play any of our starters week 18 is if we win against Minnesota and if Arizona beats Dallas. That's how we clinch the 1 seed in week 17. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's not good because I just want a scenario where Dallas doesn't play their starters.
And to add on the Colorcast, we got CJ here in the Colorcast said if we lose to Detroit with the crying emoji. And CJ, if you want, you could come onto the hot seat. We got about 6.5 minutes left here in this ball game. I'm going to send out a request to CJ, put him on for, maybe about 10 or so minutes, maybe just to have him vent about the Patriots, how they lost to Buffalo, and just overall, just talk some football. Maybe talk playoff seedings, and just see what happens from there.
Absolutely.
And I will say it is a big if, because Detroit is Detroit. Last time we played them, it was week 2, and they were up on us 17-14 at the half, and the rest was history. We scored like 17 more points, and we beat them 31-17. And we got the man CJ here coming on the hot seat. CJ, what's good, man?
What's good, bro? What's good, man? Ben, what's going on, brother? What's going on now?
I will ask the first question. So you are a Patriots fan, huh? Right, CJ?
Yes, tough Sunday, but yes.
Yeah, tough Sunday, but what does it feel like to lose the greatest of all time quarterbacks and still not suck?
It's a blessing to have one of the greatest coaches of all time. That's really what it boils down to. If Belichick's not there, if Brady leaves, it's definitely not 9-6. I can tell you that. So, grateful would be the word.
Yeah, I lose the greatest of all time, Nick Foles, and then we go like 3-12-1 or something.
And then you throw the game away. And then you throw the game away week 17 against Washington, gifting them a playoff appearance instead of giving us the New York Giants.
Yeah, some obscure record that everyone wanted to jump off City Hall for. But yes.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that, Ben? Could you imagine that, Ben? A 6-win team could have won the division last year. 6 wins. Six wins. And I will say, CJ, your comment was hilarious. Man said if we lose to Detroit, crying emoji. Hey, you never know, CJ. We could rest every single starter. Hey, you never know. If Aaron Rodgers is resting, if AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones are resting, if we got no Devontae Adams, if our number one receiver is like Allen Lazard, and you never know what happens. We probably won't, because we probably got to play our starters, because I named the only scenario, CJ, to how Green Bay can clinch the 1 seed before week 18 is if we simply beat Minnesota, and if Arizona could somehow pull their heads out of their ass and beat Dallas, which probably won't happen. And oh no, we lost CJ on the mic real quick, but before I get to that, we have Jimmy also in the YouTube comment section, basically saying, I think Taylor is good, just has to do with worth. No excuses making the Derby. Yeah, I would hope so. Scary Terry is really well.
I saw Ethan Cardoni was in the Colorcast comments.
Yeah, he was also on the hot seat too. I got him on the hot seat. We lost CJ there for a hot second. We'll see if CJ would like to come back. But even though you're on for a little bit, thank you for joining us, CJ. Let's see if he could get back on. And yeah, just
what did Ethan say on the hot seat? Just out of curiosity.
Well, we talked about the Bears and how decent of a win it was for them, whether or not they should fire Nagy, what kind of head coach they should look forward to, and yeah. Yeah, just simply that.
So Nagy, I know he answered that question with a long rant. No, I know Ethan's stuff on Nagy.
Yeah, and then just to give the viewers out there a quick game update, it is 3rd and 4 for Washington. They're moving the ball inside, but the ball is out. Ball comes out. Dallas has it, but they ruled that he was marked down at about the 1 yard line. It is 56-7 with about 2.5 minutes left. Jimmy said to you, Ben, Nick Foles has never been a GOAT. You haven't seen Philadelphia and the Lincoln Financial Field, because he is literal Jesus besides Rocky Balboa.
Jimmy, you are not insulting my guy, Big Dick Nick. Are you serious right now?
I know. No. Hey, I put BDN in the football chat because we know very few people knows what it means. But if you know what it means, it's very selective.
By the way, I will say, Nick Foles in Philadelphia, I will tell you, he was the GOAT for a period of time. He played out of his mind.
He had about a 3-year GOAT period.
Yeah. Well, and if Carson Wentz wasn't injured and was playing that year in the playoffs, we would have not won the Super Bowl.
You don't think?
Because Nick Foles played on some other unhuman level that Carson Wentz would never amount to, even in his MVP season.
Ooh.
Like, he played better than Carson Wentz in that playoff run in that year.
Well, and to give a quick game update, Ben, Washington finally scored another touchdown. It is 13-56. Dallas Cowboys well on their way to 11-4. Its game has pretty much been decided since halftime. Maybe even you could even say after the first quarter of action. But hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? You got to do your thing. That's what we do. Snap is good. Hold is good. Kick is good. It is 14-56. And pretty much no mathematical way of Washington to come back from this deficit. I mean, I don't think anybody can score, 42 points in a span of 2 minutes and 46 seconds. I think that's mathematically impossible. You basically got to go one pass play every 5-10 seconds.
That would be pretty impressive for Taylor Heineke, but that is not happening. Even Brady can't pull that off.
Nope.
But good game for Dallas. That is very good for the Eagles. That Washington is pretty much mathematically and figuratively out of it. So especially if Philly wins next week, they'll have the tiebreaker over them.
And Ben, Jimmy said Jeffries, Alshon Jeffrey and Zach Ertz were as instrumental in that offense as Nick Foles was during that Super Bowl one. Truly a team effort. Foles was just a piece. That is what Jimmy classifies Nick Foles as.
I'm sorry. If you're making the Alshon argument, I'm really sorry. He was good. I would put Ertz way ahead of Alshon Jeffrey. He is a legendary tight end, especially in that Super Bowl year. He's definitely top 10 of all time.
He also made the game-winning touchdown. Zach Ertz also made the game-winning touchdown, too, in that Super Bowl.
He did. But you got to admit, though, he was a backup quarterback, Jimmy. For him to beat Brady, didn't Brady throw almost 500 yards?
No, he did. He set the Super Bowl record, 505 passing yards.
Yeah. So if you beat
he went toe to toe with the GOAT.
You beat Brady with 505 passing yards. There's a little something that you played out of your friggin' mind. Honestly. And
also you look at, he had two beautiful passes. That one beautiful pass to Alshon Jeffrey, and then the perfectly thrown ball to Corey Clement, right on the corner of the end zone, right on the back of the edge of the end zone. Talk about a beautiful moi throw. That throw by Nick Foles was perfect on the dime. You know that throw I'm talking about, Ben, where he threw it perfectly straight to Corey. I think it was Corey Clement. Probably pronounced his last name wrong, but he was number 30. Threw it perfectly in the back of the end zone. Did a nice toe drag, 2 feet in. Oh, it was beauty.
Well, I will say, it wasn't looking good after the Week 17 Dallas game, but what helped the Eagles was that bye. It gave them an extra week to get plays for Nick Foles that he was 100% comfortable with. He said, I like this play. No, I don't like this play. Okay, the plays you do like, we're going to run. And he just executed them to perfection. Mm-hmm. That's how the Eagles won.
Yeah, and Jimmy said Eli beat Brady twice, and I'm still not sold on him. LOL. I mean, he's a Manning. He'll get in first ballot Hall of Fame. And it also helps too, Ben, when the 6th seed Falcons at the time beat the 3rd seed LA Rams. That helps too. When you're the 1 seed and you get to play a 6 seed, that's easier as well.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, Eli Manning didn't have Brady throwing for 505 yards. And second of all,
Eli had top defenses too, both those years.
True. And I will say, Nick Foles did not go 10-21 against the Eagles.
Ooh, you hear that?
But no. While we're here, why don't we, since it's the end of this like horrible game, why don't we just do shout outs real quick? So my name, for those on StreamYard and on Colorcast, my name is Ben Hoyt. My Twitter profile is not there on the screen as
It is. I put it on yours. I made sure I went live on your Twitter.
Good.
Yeah,
So,
I always make sure my guy has his Twitter going live with Primetime with Hoyt and Wise Cheese.
I appreciate that. So my Twitter profile, while not on the screen, it's on there live right now. It is at BenHoyt6. Follow that for all my broadcasting stuff, including Unwrapped Sports, Primetime with Hoyt and Wise Cheese, Curse of Billy Penn, Liberty for 4 Philly podcast, and more, including being the club president of the Garnet Valley Sports Broadcasting Club. I broadcast all Garnet Valley sports. On YouTube, we will be having a game tomorrow against Hatboro, Horsham, and Great Valley in the holiday tournament. Make sure to tune in for that. And for anything on Instagram, follow Ben Hoyt Sports Broadcasting. That is going to be my official sports broadcasting account. And now I hand it over to El Queso, Wise Cheese.
Ooh, I like that name, El Queso. I might have to roll with that one. That's very creative. My Twitter handle, if you are watching on the Unwrapped Sports Network YouTube channel, my Facebook, my Twitter, basically all that kind of stuff. Twitter handle down below at Matt_Skura. Make sure you check that out. Check out my Instagram at Matt_Skura20. Both of those have links, and also check out my Facebook as well. Just Matt Skura, you know the vibes. In each of those, I have a link in my bio, which gives access to my sports podcast that I do with my great friend Caleb Conant called MCS Real Sports Podcast. We talk all things NBA, NFL related. We've gotten 60 episodes out, and it's all over Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, you name it, is available everywhere. Also, tune in Sunday Night Football's Prime Time with Hoyt and Wise Cheese. Make sure you tune in for that. We also got Week 17 coming up as well. I believe it's Packers versus Vikings Sunday Night Football, so that's going to be an exciting slate right there for Sunday Night Football. And also on Colorcast, follow my username at MattSkuraUSN. Also, when you type in on Colorcast USN, you can find all the great stuff that Unwrapped Sports Network does on Colorcast. Even on the Unwrapped Sports Network YouTube channel, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the great shows that we do, like Generational Sports Monday, Hard Count Tuesday, Backstop Banner Thursday, Count the Bucket Saturday, you name it. All kinds of varieties, all kinds of shows. Make sure you guys tune into that. Final score here for Sunday night, Dallas winning handedly 56, Washington 14. I am Matt Skura. We got my great buddy Ben Hoyt on the Colorcast. We are signing off here on the StreamYard.